Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Basic, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. We're starting about 8 minutes earlier. Tonight, we have a great show for you. In fact, the Renaissance Mama will kick it off, part of Fired Up Network Female Empowerment Movement. Then, the Toronto Star's own Mark Zielinski talking about the Maple Leafs and the NHL draft. Inside the Game is next. And then we got Giancarlo Alino with the Wrestling Show / On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of WWE Money in the Bank Premier Live event this Saturday, Canada Day at 3 p.m. Eastern. 3 p.m. Eastern, since in London, England. And then the Junkyard Dog has no other than Kyle Lowry. Yes, Kyle Lowry. But I digress. We're going to begin the show with the Renaissance Mama. That should just be up in about 5 to 10 seconds.
Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys. Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi friends, it's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to check out the show. And if you haven't heard, you can now find Fired Up Network on Phillips House, that's FLIXHOUSE, on the channel Fired Up Network, and you can find the Renaissance Mama. And if you haven't had a chance to already, you can always find me on anywhere where you listen to your podcast. Maybe you have a friend who might enjoy the show, so please share. I would really appreciate it. All right, friends, so today I thought we would chat about a topic that I feel like affects so many people, whether you're a parent, a business owner,
anybody, you probably have a huge to-do list. If you're like me, my mind is always thinking of the next thing I need to do. I think about while I'm driving. I think about it sometimes while I'm sleeping. It's sometimes hard to shut off because I'm just thinking of all the things I need to do. And these could be things, if you're a parent, like commitments you've made, obviously, for your kids, activities to get them to and from school. Of course, we got to feed them, take care of them, do all the things. If you're a business owner, you may be creating your product. You may be doing some social media. You may be doing service business. And then of course, if you don't do your service, you don't get paid. You're doing customer service. You're doing marketing, so many different things as a business owner. And then even just as a commitment you make to yourself. So if you're thinking, oh, I want to eat healthier, that takes time. That takes planning. That takes effort. If you want to get in better shape, that takes time. That's like stay planning. That takes effort. That is all the things. I don't know if you guys have seen the meme, but there's a picture of like Cruella de Vil, and her hair's like this. She's going wild. Her eyes are all bulging out. And the meme says something on the lines of like, this is me trying to and doing all the things that I literally just mentioned. So like try and eat healthy, keep social with my friends, look after my kids, run my business, do all those things, because the pressures we put on ourselves a lot of time are pretty unrealistic. And I've had this conversation. I personally don't know how you take the items off your list. I think it's something sometimes that some of those items, they can't come off. They need to be done. But what I wanted to talk about today is what happens when that to-do list running around your head, or maybe it's a physical list, is so long and you just don't want to do it, right? It happens. We've all been there. I'm sure I will continue to be there. But what happens when you just don't want to do the things you want to do? So we're going to chat about that today. We're going to chat about maybe why we don't want to do some of those things, some of the ways we can get around it. But we want to get things done, right? Because if we don't take actions, things aren't going to move forward. If we don't take action, our children won't grow. If we don't take action, things won't happen the way we want it to. So we know we have to take action, even if sometimes we really don't feel like it. So the first thing I think you need to do when you are facing a mega to-do list, but you really just don't feel like doing it, you need to figure out why it is that you don't feel like doing what you're supposed to do. I'm going to give you a few examples of things that I've encountered and ways I've worked around it, or strategies and tips that have helped me in the past. So I will say the first and probably most horrible reason why we don't want to do some of the things that's on our mega to-do list is that we may be impacted by a medical emergency, whether it's for ourselves, our children, our family members, a friend, or a death in the family. We have had, my family in particular, some of our friends this last few weeks, it has been an emotional few weeks. We've had a number of really close friends lose their parents. We have had some medical scares within our families as well. And I find when anything like this happens, it's hard. It's really difficult. But then it's sometimes even harder to start doing all the things you're supposed to be doing throughout it. For me, when, something horrible like that happens, it really puts into perspective what's important and what's not as important. So sometimes all those lists on my mega to-do list, like I said, there's a bunch of them that I can avoid or skip or get rid of because all of a sudden they don't feel that important anymore. But if you're a business owner, if you're a parent, if you're anybody, there's still going to be items on your list that you can't take off. You've got to do. So how do you work through it in some of the worst times? I find when it comes to that worst situation, worst case scenario, the family, someone's passed away, someone's sick, and you're dealing with something like that, your best ways to get through it and to still get things done is just to have open communication. Whether you are a business, that's having open communication with your customers and your clients. No, you don't have to tell them everything. They don't need to know everything. But it is really nice to let them know, number one, you still really appreciate their business. You still want their business. You're going to do what you can do. But there is something going on that you have to tend to right now. And you can say medical emergency. You can say death in the family. You can say something like that. But just having that open communication with them and saying, here's what's happening. I want to be honest with you. And if you no longer want my service or product, then I really do apologize. I wish it wasn't that way, but this is what's going on. I think having that open communication with your customers and clients, they will know that you are human. They will respect that you are looking after what is dear for you, and hopefully they will stick with you. If you are parenting and you go through a devastating situation like that, I think also that open communication with your kids, with their teachers, with their, coaches or other activities, just letting people know like, hey, we're still here, we're part of this, but this is what I'm going through. Or having that one-on-one conversation with your kiddos of like, I'm having a hard time making dinners. I'm having a hard time cleaning the house, doing the things that, like I said before, may all of a sudden not feel as important, right? The priorities really switch when something like that happens. I also highly suggest, if you can, have the time to chat with somebody. It could be a friend, a family, a professional, but chat with them and let them know how you are feeling. If there's any way you can ask for help, maybe you can delegate some of those tasks or duties that unfortunately you cannot handle or you can't get to right at the moment. Once again, I feel like people will appreciate that, and in the long run, it will work out better for you. To me, that is the hardest and most horrible resistance you can have of why you aren't doing the things, or you don't want to do the things you're supposed to do. No one can expect these things to happen. No one can plan for them to happen. But when they do, we do have to react. So finding that help, chatting with everybody, and just being open and honest, seeing if there are things you can move off of that to-do list, really getting clear on what absolutely needs to be done, what can wait, is really, really important. Another thing when it comes to resistance, and I'm hoping this is one that more people can probably relate to on more of a daily or weekly basis. I know it's something I get hit by all the time, is when my list is so big and my mind is going so much, it's the overwhelm. I get so overwhelmed with my things that I need to get done, or all those things, that I literally stop in my tracks and then have a hard time finding out where to start, or what needs to get done, or what's next. I've shared with you guys that for myself, what's really helped me get through that kind of overwhelm is stopping things and doing a top 3 of the day, like 3 things I want to get done. That has been a huge help for me to kind of get over that overwhelm and just start taking action. Because once you start, then the ball is rolling and things are happening and everything is so much easier. I have also found another trick recently. I was listening to a podcast. You know me, I listen to my podcasts. And there was a suggestion that at the beginning of the week, you take a page and you just write down every single thing you think you need to get done this week. Like, it's a brain dump. I literally write all the things, the stuff for work, the stuff for myself, the stuff for the kids, the activities, the laundry, all the commitments I feel like I have to get done that week. And you'll see there's some weeks that I'm like, okay, I fill it up and there's still some space left, but I feel like, all right, this is manageable. Then there's some weeks that I am writing sideways and around in all the spaces because I have so many things I feel like I have to get done. And it's funny is once I do that brain dump, it's like it's out of my mind. I've taken away the overwhelmed because I put it there. I put it somewhere. Whether I go back to that list or not later, that's another story. But at least I've put it down. It's out of my mind. I don't feel that anxiety. I do not feel that overwhelm because it's written down. So eventually I'll get to it, right? I guess so. Another popular kind of resistance that can come up when you were looking at that mega to-do list is really your lack of interest in what you need to get done. So that is where I would go down back to that drawing board of like, okay, looking at my mega list of all the things I feel like I have to get done. Are there things that just don't really need to get done? Are there things that like, okay, in a perfect world, if it were to get done, I'd be happy, it'd be great, whatever. But are there things that if it doesn't get done, it's not terrible? So looking through your list and kind of making those priorities, whether you go with my strategy of the big 3 every day, or highlighting things that you know have to get done, or seeing if there's a better time for things. Maybe there's a way you can put some similar things together so you can get them done quicker. I find sometimes too, that's one of the hardest things is my schedule. If I'm thinking I do this, then this, then this, then this, I'm kind of all over the place where I'm like, okay, this day is my writing day. This day is my filming day. This day is content and scheduling. This day is, following up with all these things. I don't know, those are just examples, but kind of making different days sometimes can help you really clarify what you're supposed to be doing. But if you really feel like there's something that's on that list that you have like zero interest in doing, I would definitely look at it and see if it needs to be done. If it absolutely has to, like if yes, you've got to do your accounting so you can give it to the accountant so you can get your taxes because you have to do it, then I think you figured out that one. But if it's something that you're like, I'm really not into this, maybe that is something you could potentially pay someone else to do. Maybe you can ask a friend or a family member or someone else to help you out. Maybe there's a way you can barter. Maybe there's something that you can do pretty well quickly and you're good at that you could trade time and someone else could do it for you. So I think there's lots of options when there is something you need to do that you just don't have interest in doing. I'll give you an example. Today I had someone come walk my dog, which I usually love to do. Trust me, it's not that I have no interest, just I didn't have time. The overwhelm was there. The anxiety was there. I also had helpers come and clean my house. That one I have no interest in, let's be honest. So it is a huge privilege. I understand that. I know it. But it's also something for you to start considering and thinking like, okay, maybe I can, spend the time or like I said, trade my service to get some of these things done that I just might not have very much interest in doing. Or maybe you are having a little resistance because you think of yourself as a procrastinator. If that is you and you fall into that category, then I highly suggest you use some tools like reminders. You guys know me, my phone and my watch is reminding me all the time about everything, and if it doesn't, then it's probably not going to get done. So find ways to get going, start taking that first little bit of action even when you really, really don't want to, but instead of waiting, using those reminders to get you going, get you thinking, get you going on to the things that you know you need to really get done. So those are mainly those top few reasons why most people feel that resistance and don't want to do the things that they know they have to do. So let's move on to the next thing. Once you kind of know why it is you might not want to complete those tasks you want to do, then it's time to really start getting yourself motivated. So how can you really inspire yourself to do those things on that list? So for me, I can look at it 2 different ways. Sometimes when I look at my mega list of things that I have to do, and I've decided I have to do them because in my head somewhere I've told myself, yes, these are the things you must get done. I play a game I like to call worst case scenario. So if I think of the thing that I need to get done, let's say it's making dinner. I don't know. So I'm saying I need to make dinner for my kids. Okay, well, worst case scenario. If I didn't make dinner tonight because I just didn't feel like it, I'm too busy, I'm overwhelmed, I'm procrastinating, whatever all my resistant reasons are, my kids would find food. right? Worst case scenario, they would grab something from the fridge. It might not be the healthiest dinner. It might not be, winning me a Mother of the Year award, but they would have dinner. It would be okay. They would eat. It's fine. Now, if there's something that's pertaining maybe to my business and I, have a really important client and I'm supposed to have a meeting with them, okay, let's play the game again. Worst case scenario. Well, my guess worst case scenario is that I don't go to the meeting. They no longer want my services. Maybe they tell other people that my services are not great and I don't do the things I say I'm going to do, and now my business has failed. So that worst case scenario is pretty darn sad, right? Once you play that game a few times with some of the different tasks that you have to do, you will very clearly be able to say, okay, I don't want that worst case scenario to happen, so I'm going to make sure I do those things even when I don't really feel like doing it. Especially when you're a business owner. There are times when you've got to still get those things done despite all those other, commitments you have in your life. I told this story a few weeks ago, but when I was about to have my second kid, I was literally huge, pregnant, ready to have a baby. I was in the hospital having my baby, and I was still making a few quick texts and phone calls because there was things that I need someone to pick up, something for someone else to do. I ended up getting, I think, a friend to drive some supplies to a performer's house, like all these things, because yes, I knew I was having a baby, but I wasn't 100% prepared for it to happen on that day. But I also knew if I didn't send the supplies to that person, they wouldn't have it. So in my head, worst case scenario, they wouldn't be able to do the party wouldn't work out well, the people would be upset, I'd have to give money back, all those things in my head. I started replaying what could happen. So that's one of my things, is when I want some motivation, I think of that worst case scenario. And if the worst case scenario is actually pretty bad, that gives me the motivation to okay, let's get things done. The other way, you could look at it as a really positive. So instead of the worst case scenario, think of those huge, lofty, amazing goals you want to happen. And that to make any of those goals happen, you need to do the things you said you were going to do. This is for business, of course, but it also can be for personal. If you have said, I want to lose, 20 pounds in the next 3 months because I'm going to a friend's wedding and I want to look good. I'm sure you look good already, but you know what I mean. Those are the goals you want to achieve, right? So you've created that vision of how you want it to happen. You've given yourself a timeline, you've given yourself strategies. That is the motivation you need. So when you really don't feel like getting up at 6:15 in the morning to do your workout, take that moment, think of that goal, think of why you want it, think of why you made the goal, and then realize it's not going to happen if I don't take the action that I promised I would. So making it a really positive thing is also fun as well. Instead of thinking worst case scenario, sometimes you can think of the best scenario, right? So imagining that perfect life or those big goals or all those things you want to accomplish, especially when we're talking our business goals and all the things that we want. They won't happen if we don't do all those little steps going forward, right? So you can look at it two different ways: that worst case scenario, the best case scenario, the goals, and really get your motivation that way. I've also shared so many times is going back to why you're doing what you're doing and really getting clear on that. And we'll chat about that in a second. So when we go to thinking of why we're doing what we're doing, and I've shared with you before, if you don't have a really strong why of why you want to accomplish something, so if it is in my business and there's big goals I want to set, if I don't know exactly what that end vision is going to be, it's going to be hard sometimes when days do get tough and I don't want to do those things, or I don't answer that email right away because I'm not having that clear vision in my head. So the why is what helps you really get your mindset clear. It helps you kind of work past the feeling that I don't want to do something. It gives you that strength. It helps you, find that grit that you need to do. I find when it comes to things that are more for myself or even my business, sometimes I can definitely take my foot off the gas. I might not get all the things done that I swore I would do. But when it comes to being a parent, I put it pretty high up there. I try to be at all the events. I try to take them to all their events. I try to help them as much as I can. Of course, I'm taking care of them. I'm doing those things because I really value that vision of being a good parent. I know that it will shape my kids in the future. It's shaping them now. I know in my head that there is some worst case scenario. Obviously, if I don't look after my kids, that would not end up really good. So I always think of that my mindset sometimes needs to be kind of looked at. Sometimes I do have to be like, okay, wait a second, let's slow down and maybe put my business first for a little bit. Not for long. I'm talking like an afternoon or a day or two, right? And then we've talked the last few weeks about this self-care and taking time for you. So there has to be times where I have to stop and say, hey, wait a minute. Let's give myself what I need right now. Because if you're not giving yourself that time, that might be some of the reasons that you're feeling the resistance and you're not wanting to do the things you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you haven't put yourself first in a while. I always used to joke with people that I'm like, okay, it's time to put myself first. Okay, will not last, right? Let's be honest, moms and business owners, we have a hard time putting ourselves first sometimes, but it really does need to get done. So take the time for your mindset to really just kind of clear it out, figure out why you need to do these things. Like I said before, maybe play that worst case scenario game and give you the motivation to get it done. Then I also find in mindset, you can really find ways to work with yourself to get these things done. So maybe if I gave you the example before, that big overwhelm, remember I put all the ideas down on a page. So I didn't have to feel like I was being swallowed with them. They're all in my head, they're all over the place. That felt too overwhelming. But when I put them down on the page, that's where they stayed. And I could look at them and I can review them and I know they're there, but I wasn't always feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting something. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get something done. It's there sitting on the page. Another great way to think about the mindset of all that to-do list of what has to get done and how I can do it is just taking those little bits at a time. So my top 3, remember I shared that scenario with you too. It's a great strategy. If I'm looking at that mega list and I need the mindset change of okay, I need to get something done, pick those very, very important 3 things that need to get done. And what's so good about your mindset when you actually start just taking the action and start making it happen, your mindset will change for you. You will then feel that motivation behind you. You will feel, yes, this is what I needed to get done. I did it. You'll feel accomplished. You'll feel better. I mean, we've all been there where, whether you're just trying to start a new workout or maybe you work out all the time, but there's going to be times when you get up and it just feels like such a daunting task. You do not want to work out. It feels like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? But once you do it, or even halfway through it, I find I'm sweating. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I do this. This feels good for me. This makes me happy. This gets my body going and I enjoy it. So sometimes getting that mindset of okay, let's just start. Let's do a few little bits of here and there. Getting it going will then switch your mindset and all of a sudden you're all right, boom, 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 boom. You want to start getting all those things done off that to-do list. The next thing I want you to think about is really knowing yourself and knowing that eventually you are going to have those days that you don't feel like doing something. So if there's a way that you can already kind of create yourself a routine or create yourself this idea of consistency, then hopefully those days don't feel so right? I mean, if you know that, I gave you the example for like Mondays are this day, Tuesday or this day, this is Wednesday, this is Thursday, you know that's kind of what's happening. You're expecting it. You people around you are expecting it. It's not a surprise when all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I have this thing due. It's like, oh yeah, I knew, I scheduled that for Wednesday, so by Friday it's good to go, it's set, I'm fine. So if there's ways you can add those little consistencies into your life, into your routine, make them habits, right? Make them so natural that you know exactly, yeah, okay, it's this day, I need to get this done. And trust me, there's gonna be times when it doesn't work out the way you want to, not perfectly, and that's fine too. But giving yourself those tools, or, you know, like I said, that structure and that routine, maybe it's getting yourself a huge calendar and using big visuals to know what you really need to get done. Maybe it's having those, once again, reminders on your phone or in your watch popping up and saying, has this get done? Have you finished this yet? Like, where are you at with this? Maybe you do have a master to-do list that you love just sort of checking off. But once it becomes a habit and once it becomes something that you do naturally, then it's a little bit easier to not push away and not avoid. You guys know I love doing my workouts, but there's some mornings I don't really feel like it. But I also, when I don't do it, I feel off. Like it feels like there's something wrong. Like it's a habit and it's a routine and it's part of my day. So once things become that strong and that ingrained in you, then I find it is a little bit harder to really, you know, push them away when you don't want to do them. So there's ways you can create that habit, create that routine. And sometimes one of the best ways doing that is actually just adding it to another habit. So if you're looking to maybe add more water into your diet, I don't know, then maybe you want to, whenever you grab, you know, your coffee in the morning, you grab a water as well. While you're waiting for your coffee to make, you're drinking a full thing of water. You're gonna have to go pee quite a bit, but that's okay. That's another story. Also, I find for creating consistency and routine is, like I said, I'm a big visual person. So if I'm looking to add more water into my routine, I'm gonna have my water bottle like very large and very available for me to see. It's gonna be there right off the bat. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta do that. It becomes a routine, right? Oh yeah, there it is again. I gotta do that. It's part of the routine. So making things fun and part of your routine will be much harder to kind of not do when you really don't feel like doing them. And lastly, I mean, we talked a little bit about sometimes looking at your to-do list and seeing if there's ways you can move things off, or seeing, you know, if you can get help or trade services with somebody. But I also want you to think, sometimes when you do something, it doesn't have to be perfect. So getting comfortable with that, like, done is better than perfect, right? It's a hard concept. It's a hard concept for a lot of people, especially if you feel like you're like a type A person that wants to do everything wonderful, right? Whether it's your business, whether it's your social life, whether it's your, you know, taking care of yourself, maybe it's your kids, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So giving yourself that grace, especially if we're talking about, you know, the scenarios I talked at the beginning of the show. If you are dealing with something huge in your life, whether it's a medical emergency for yourself, your family, there's a death in a family, like, you can definitely give yourself some grace. You're not going to be able to do all the things, and that's your reality for now. You will be able to get back to it. You will get it done, or else it might not really need to be done. So you can definitely give yourself your grace, some grace, but also know it doesn't have to be perfect. Most things aren't perfect. And if we're you. And even just that little step of telling them, like, listen, this is where I'm at, you mean something to me, that makes a huge difference. Well, my friends, let's just do a really quick recap of those things we spoke of today, of hopefully that will help you when, you've got your mega to-do list, you have all those commitments, you have to get things done, but you really just don't feel like it. First of all, I think we all have to realize it's going to happen. There's going to be days like that. Maybe not even days, but just moments like that you're like, okay. So I always feel like give yourself the moment, take that breath in, maybe do a quick workout, do some water, whatever it is that you need to get you going. Me, sometimes I throw in some music and have a dance party. But everyone else is a little bit different. But let's do the quick recap. So remember, you're first thinking of why you have this resistance to the to-do list. So that might be that overwhelm. That might be that you're, maybe you're tired. Maybe you don't really feel like doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing. So going through why it is that you really feel like you don't want to do this thing is a very good idea to get clear on why it is, because then you can work through it a little bit better. Remember, I gave you some of those suggestions for some of those most popular resistance. The next thing you really want to think about is that motivation. So if you play that quick little worst case scenario game, maybe you write it out or even just play it out in your head. Think it out. What would be the worst case scenario if you didn't do the things you're supposed to be doing? And if it's really bad, then you better do it. Also, another really great tip for motivation is getting other people involved. So getting people to, call you out when you haven't done the things you're supposed to do, or work with others so you can check in with each other. Nothing's better than having that person check in and be like, hey, did you get that thing done you said you were supposed to do? Because then you have somebody that's going to keep their eye on you and give you that motivation. Remember, also with motivation, you could do that best case scenario or think of those big goals that you really, really want to happen. The third thing is you want to think of your mindset and do what you need to do to switch that mindset so it becomes like, yes, I need to get things done. And also remember, sometimes when you just start taking that action, then that mindset change will happen, that motivation will come, and it all just starts getting that ball rolling. The fourth thing is if you are able to create those routines, those habits, keep up the consistency, right? I told you before, when I'm setting certain goals, I try to add a new habit to an old habit. I try to keep things out and visual. I try to keep things moving and going so it becomes natural and comfortable and so routine that if I don't do it, it feels off. And then last but not least, giving yourself some grace and really embracing the imperfection. Things do not need to be perfect, whether it's in your work, in your social life, in your, raising kids, whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes done is better than perfect, but I always know you're going to provide amazing results. So I hope you enjoyed this, my friends. I hope this helps you get over those days that you just really kind of don't feel like doing the things that you said you would do, but we know that there are some things you got to do anyways. So I would love to hear from you. I'd love to keep this conversation going. Hop on therenaissancemama.com. Send me a quick message. Let me know what it is that you just don't feel like doing sometimes. What is it on that to-do list that you're like, oh my goodness, this thing again? And I would love to hear from you, or hop on Instagram at Courtney Renaissance Mama I'd just love to chat. All right, thanks so much, friends. We'll see you later. Bye for now, friends.
That was Courtney Riddell, the Renaissance Mama, big part of the FiredUp Network female empowerment movement. As you know, yesterday and today, the NHL held their draft in Nashville, and we got the Toronto Star's own Mark Swilinski talking about the Maple Leafs and talking about the NHL draft right now. Here we go with Mark Swilinski of the Toronto Star, and that's followed by Inside the Game. The flagship show, Fired Up Live, and welcome to Maple Leafs Forever Leaf Talk / NHL Lowdown with the one and only the Toronto Star's own Mark Zielinski. Purchase his book, even though it's a crappy first name. Norma should be called Joe or Joey or whatever. Anyways, we'll talk about that later on.
Next
All
time.
right. Yeah. All right, Mark. Last night we had the draft. I'm not going to go through 30 guys. Let's start off with the Maple Leafs. They picked number 28. Brad Treliving could go after the Calgary Flames pick, so he came down in the 16th, 17th pick. But how satisfied do you think the Maple Leafs are with who they selected?
I think that they have to be pretty satisfied. It's a kid from the Knights. We know they've had success drafting from the Knights with Marner and Kadri and a few others. The Hunters were there. They're high on this kid. He really turned it on in the playoffs. I think he had 20 points in 21 games or something like that in the OHL playoffs. He had a decent regular season, but he really turned it on in the playoffs. And I think that's, we don't have to talk too much about the Leafs playoffs. So I think that's what pushed this kid over the top. It was interesting in that kid wasn't sitting with all the projected first round players at the draft yesterday. Everybody thought he was going to go second or third, probably second. Obviously, he was pretty pleased when his name got announced. So there has to be obviously some, they have knowledge. They know the Hunters about the Leafs, so, and I think you saw a few picks like that in the first round, even in the top 10 that, teams are relying on their own intel, their own eyes, their analytics to make picks that they feel are right, not necessarily go with the flow. And who knows what the flow is, if it's right or not anyways. The Leafs, their draft history is what it is. Their first round, some of it's been traded away to, because they went for it last year. 2020, they got Amarov. He unfortunately suffered a brain injury, and that's it for him. So, you turn the page, you look forward to this kid, and let's see what he can do.
All right, so this year it's going to be known as the next one. Berdard, they're getting selected by Chicago, number 1. And Philly they're saying the steal of the draft, this Philly. But who impressed you with other picks in the draft there?
Well, that Philly pick, what's his name again?
Russian.
Michkov, the Russian Bedard, they call him. I'm just looking at the picks now. The kid that Arizona got, the big kid, Daniel Boo, or Bud, however you want to call it, guy like size. You look at some of these kids, and I'm looking again. You're looking in some of these, even in the later rounds. Some of the kids are very, very big. This kid that Arizona took, and I think they got 2 first-round picks. But
6 and 12 they had. 6 and 12.
You look at the kids, especially the D. We go back to this almost every year that we talk about this, Joe. You cannot go wrong, and at least I don't think you can go wrong, and you cannot go wrong with size, especially on D. We're always going to go back to the Leafs. We're always going to look at their defense. And though they've had size on it, size has been really something that they've lacked there. Their best defenseman is no bigger than you and I, and that's Morgan Riley. He's more of an offensive defenseman. He's not physical. Now, when you go to the playoffs, the team with the best and biggest D won the Stanley Cup. Vegas's top 2 pairings are all 6'2", 215 plus in that range. Now, is that like saying that you have to just drop everything and go and get these type of players? No. But if you look
Vegas also had a number 1, right? We never had a number 1 since against Borja Salming.
Exactly. Borja Salmings don't come along every often, but a tall defenseman is always available. The kids are getting bigger and stronger, and at 18, their bodies are ready for the NHL. So I look at that. That's the one kid I look at. I'm interested. He looks very young and obviously very raw. But with size like that, that's the kind of player I keep an eye on. 2 years now, a year from now, maybe next year. But his trajectory. I'm very keen in looking at that, and very keen on looking at these larger kids in the draft. Where are they going to end up?
Well, one surprise right at number 2. Everybody thought Anaheim's going to take Adam Fantilli. They did not, and then Columbus, who, by the way, who is the new Columbus coach?
Yeah, tell me. I'm not even.
and well, it's Mike Babcock.
Yeah, it will be, but I couldn't even tell you last one. And I'm supposed to be covering this stuff. And off the top of my darn bald head here, I didn't even know it.
and this is the whole thing with Goudreau there, now Fantilli there, and presumably he had a problem with Mitch Marner and all that, and now he's coming back to. I think Columbus may be a playoff team. I'm just saying it and all that because this guy, Babcock, he's out. Maybe he gets better when the time is out of the NHL, but he's being positioned in a very good spot. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah,
Columbus is going to have a good team.
I agree, and I think Mike's obviously an excellent coach, a very successful coach. As a chalkboard person, a guy who understands the game and clearly knows how to coach it. I think his time out of the game's probably, and I can't say I've not spoken to him, even though I have his number. Going to mellow him in terms of what he expects out of his top players, what he expects out of certain players. So I think if that area, that inner relationship, and his door is always open. He's not like some, teacher from the 1880s is going to, slap your wrists and cut your hands off if you don't listen. He's not like that. He's a veteran coach and there's a modern athlete, and there's a way that those two can get along. I think Mike, even at this time in his career, at this juncture in his career, can still learn about that. We all can. So that's going to be interesting to see. I think you're bang on with that pick being interesting, and fortunate for Columbus because I'm a Fantilli fan. And yeah, they're going to be another very, very strong team in the East. And that's going to be another detail that the Leafs are going to have to deal with. And, as we turn our conversation to them, there's lots of stuff the Leafs are going to address in the next few days over, the composition and size and strength of their team.
Okay, so we'll go to Maple Leafs, but you're saying good things about Babcock because I know you have like a drawer full of his socks. You have Mike Babcock's socks and all that. So and you want different colors and all that. But let's turn our attention to the Maple Leafs. As you know, free agency starts on Saturday. Okay, they have to still sign Matthews and they still have to sign Nylander and all that. The core four, I don't think they're going to get rid of Tavares, okay? So it's either Matthews or Nylander, and specifically Nylander and Mitch Marner. They're here. There's been some rumors that they may trade one or two of the core fours or whatever. As we sit here Thursday, what do you think Brad Treliving's going to do on Saturday?
I think two things. One, this isn't going out on a limb or anything. I think he's going to go after Ryan Reeves. I think that's the guy this team needs. I think the guy that the core four, if it stays together, is going to need. If they can land him, I mean, that's an easy deal to make. They're going to need it for reasons we were just talking about, that the East is tough. It's only going to get tougher. Lucic might come back to Boston. You've got to have an answer when the Leafs in Boston are like, that's become as significant a game as Leafs in Montreal, Leafs in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Boston's, obviously going to be the team to beat again, even if they lose Bergeron. They're giving Bergeron time to decide his future. He hasn't completely decided it yet, but let's face it, Boston is, given last year, they're one heck of a team with a good coach. Great coach, actually. And
coach of the year.
Absolutely. And so that's the one thing I would look for them to do. The other thing, I mean, Carlson rumors out there, all that
That's
kind of
the
stuff.
other thing I want. We talked about Salming. Sorry to interrupt you. That's the one guy that they have to. It's a must. Reeves and Carlson, it's a must because, like we talked, 35 years since they had a number one stud defenseman. And a lot of people would say Salming was not, when he came, was not a stud defenseman because Swedish and all that. Now, Carlson, I know his age or whatever, but the guy still won the Norris, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, and if they could get somebody to eat up the contract and
Yeah,
pay,
if that happens, it'd be a three-way trade.
yeah.
I think three teams would be involved, and the Leafs would probably. I think they could live with, say, $4 million out of that contract. I think that'd be the number, $4 or $5 million, and have the other teams assume the rest. San Jose do something, and another team do something. I think they would just trade, move LTIR guys, and shuffle them around and somehow eat up, get Carlson's salary dissolved somehow so that it's down to half of what it's worth. I think the Leafs could live with that. I think that's a good point. And I know we always go back to the core four. I think Matthews, if he wants to be here, blah, 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 he's a slam dunk. Gosh, Nylander's always this cloud, over your head, wondering what is he going to do? Where is he going to go? Is he worth it? I'm sure you saw the reports this week that he's asking $9 million, which I think is, reflective of what his production is as the top scorer on the team.
So let me ask you this: the reports he wants $9 million, and then reports say Matthews wants to take less to build a team. So, like, again, the core four or we're best friends or whatever. And do you think Marner is going to take less than 10, 11 million?
No.
Like,
well,
again, we're in the same dilemma.
Well, exactly. But the dilemma in it all is Tavares, right? He's got 2 years left at $11 million a year. God bless him, but he's not like the three young guys, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, are obviously elevated in their play above him. John's career is coming, into its, into the middle of its second half, right? He's an older player and obviously a definite consideration for Hall of Fame. Can't take anything away from him, but we're just talking about money fitting pieces under the cap. That $11 million, for lack of better words, sucks. And you might be able to, as Nick Kiprios pointed out in the paper today, create a bidding war for him. If, again, you can manage the salary, shift it, shuffle it, whatever you want, eat some of it. John does have a complete no movement, no trade clause in effect, so he can veto anything, and he deserves that at this point in his career. And again, this is no reflection on him whatsoever as a player, as a person. We're just talking about managing the cap. So what they do, I'm not sure. Do they keep all four together? I think they can. But if you're talking about Reeves and Carlson, and we just signed Kampf, then you've got to look at, the obvious players and choices that we've all talked about in the past, being Kerfoot, Hall, a few others would have to go. But you're also going to get cheaper this year because, you have two, possibly three, going back to the draft, excellent second-round picks who are going to be ready for the NHL. That being Nyes, Nick Robertson should be back, and Fraser Minton, last year's pick, second round pick.
Amazing for people who don't, who haven't watched. Midden was great, and they're saying it was a steal with what the Maple Leafs got, right? So
yeah, he's a big kid, and that's the kid you like. I think that's like if they spend big somewhere else, they're going to have to go cheap somewhere else, right? Nyes and Robertson are definitely cheap. They're still under control.
And Nyes and Robertson, if they make a trade, those two are probably out the door to get somebody like Carlson. Or there's rumors today, I'm just checking it here, the Maple Leafs and Winnipeg Jets are talking about Hellebuyck.
Yeah. Well, so is Buffalo. Buffalo wants Hellebuyck. Hellebuyck likes Buffalo. I'm wondering if he would like it here. But I think the Leafs, who wouldn't like to have Hellebuyck, right?
If
But
they get Halbach, the Carlson and Reeves, they're set because those are the three guys. For years, they never had a number one goalie other than maybe Joseph Potvin and Belfour. Okay, the stud defenseman we talked about, and I don't know if you're going to put Reeves because the guy's like 7 feet and Ty Domi was 5 feet, right? So it's like I don't know, but that's for years they didn't have that.
yeah. Well, and I think you're right, but I think they'd be happy. Like, I agree. Having Hellebuck would be, would give them that missing link in terms of a number one goalie. But they do have three goalies. They do have depth, and I think Joseph Woll is the the silent factor here in that he could end up with the number one role, if not this coming season, then the season after that. And it's always good to have your number one goalie come from your own system. Now, Hellebuck, like we said, Buffalo's very interested. There's a lot of teams obviously interested in him. I mean, we're fitting pieces here. Reeves, Carlson, Hellebuck, it all has to fit under the cap. The cap's gone up, but we can't just simply, do window dressing here. I agree on Hellebuck, but I also think they're very strong on depth right now. That goaltending is a depth position in the organization, and that they need to look at size and toughness, as every team does every year, and the Leafs are like that. But what are they going to do? Gosh, I hope we don't see with Nylander a repeat of his holdout from a couple of years ago when he signed the deal that he was on, and he didn't play till December 1st. I don't think Treliving is down with that type of thing. He wants to get jobs done. I think he's a business first, get it done person as a GM. So it's going to be interesting starting Saturday. It may come together very quickly. You wouldn't be surprised if Matthews is announced Saturday. After that,
At how much? What do you think?
Well, your point about taking a hometown discount is interesting, and Matthews might be open to that. Say on a bridge deal, 3 years, maybe 5 years. Let's face it, he has 2 contracts left in his career. This is the penultimate one in terms of value. So he could take max value on the cap, which I think is 15 or 16%. That would put him at 13, I think, 13 or 14. He can become the highest paid player in the NHL, and there would be no argument.
Yeah, but for a week.
Yes. But nonetheless, he could become the highest paid player in the NHL, and he could set down that money in whatever term he wants, and the Leafs would have 24 hours to sign it. I'm sure they've already looked at all this. They've gone through all these scenarios. But he is in the position, an absolute position of complete leverage. You take it or you leave it, or I'm going somewhere else. He could sign in 20 minutes, not 24 hours, 24 minutes, with probably 15 different teams in the NHL who'd pay that money. Boom, let's go. So the Leafs won't have long to decide whether they want him or not. Now, I'm sure they've been talking, even behind the scenes, and have different scenarios. And if Matthews wants to take a hometown discount, God bless him. That may help sign Nylander. But like I said, he's got this contract. He's got another one. The next one he takes, he's going to be closer to his 30th season, 30th year. So he may still command a very, very high dollar. But this is, I don't know how to look at it. I think when you're in a position like this, you have to maximize your value. His value is extremely high, highest, potential highest paid player in the league. I don't know if he foregoes that on a hometown discount deal, but I think his agent, I think the Players Association are all going to push for him to raise that bar so it's set that high for future players like Bedard.
Yeah. All right. So one final question before we promote some book. You hear rumors where Phoenix or Arizona is going to play in 2 years?
Oh boy, great question. I I don't know. Have you heard anything? I really haven't.
I
I
heard
think they,
I heard the owner of Utah Jazz wants the team, and
yeah,
that should be interesting. Utah just has basketball, and now if they bring hockey there, of course you hear Houston, but I think they got Houston, they got Dallas. It's a lot there. Kansas City, I hear, and then I hear a team in Canada, maybe Quebec, but
that's
and,
what I
and
would. That's what I would. I put a flag on that one because Quebec has the rink.
yeah,
The only thing killing Quebec, and I'm not sure if the NHL wants to go there. I think they do eventually, and I think eventually is now. I mean, they've had that rink in place for a couple of years. I don't think they build it just to put house league hockey in it. The thing with Quebec is the money, the TV money, radio and all that. Now they would sell out for sure, and I think that would be an excellent choice. I think it would be the best choice, in terms of sustainability. Doing another team in the American Southwest in the Sun Belt or Kansas City like that. I think they got to look at like Vegas's success and say, yeah, we could do that all over again. That would be great. And most of them owners are American and will probably go for that. It would bring the NHL into its American presence that much healthier. But Quebec and who knows, even in Ontario, right? Like you could go way out on a limb and start thinking that is there the age old conversation, is there room for another team in Ontario outside the 50-mile barrier? Yes, there is. It would go over huge, but I think Quebec is a very interesting prospect for that franchise. I'm not saying they're going to come to Canada. There are plenty of other places in Canada that could work very well. But given the situation, how the NHL is thread together, I think another Southwestern team probably makes sense, and as does Kansas City. And you can talk about it forever. They all, given Vegas' success, that there's an impetus there to have that recreated in another American city. I would pull for Quebec myself. I've been there many times.
you
Covered it.
just like the nightlife.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. The ballet is great there,
yeah,
but
the ballet. That's right. That's what Norm calls it. All right. Hartford's also rumored. Hartford would be for me interesting there because Hartford, the Whalers there and all that. But I think they want a team in the West because Arizona's in the West, and they have to realign. And Bettman likes to keep status quo and all that.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
don't forget, February is the All Star game. You're watching an All Star. This guy covers hockey, covers baseball, doing the CFL, the Canadian Football League, all right? The CFL. And also, he's written another book. Go
Mm.
ahead, Norma.
Oh, Joe, you're always kind to me and throwing that out there, and I appreciate it. Yeah, the book's called Norma. It's my first shot at fiction, and it's a story about an old woman who saves a town with kindness, but goes through hell to do it, and uses her wit and her kindness and outsmarts some corruption in her town to save it. And she turns out to be the town's angel. It's a neat story. I'd always wanted to do something, in fiction, a novel, and it's my first shot at it. And it's out there. You can get it anywhere online, Amazon, or even Walmart has it, and or any of the major bookstores. You just order it, and it'll be there. Or you can get it from Friesen Press in Vancouver. They're the ones who published it, and I'm happy with it. I'm proud of it. It's my first one, and I really appreciate you letting me have a chance to talk about it.
All right. And wait, another special surprise. You know, you know, Beyonce's here this week. All right, she has requested me to sing some happy birthday song because Monday you turn 88 years old. William Nylander age, right? So, are you ready? This doesn't happen. You're special if I'm singing to you.
Okay, let her rip.
Happy birthday to you. How do you like that, eh? How do you like that? All right, I got a standing ovation. See, there you go. All right, Mark, where can everybody get a hold of you?
Joe, thanks again for that. I am on Twitter at MarkSwool, and M. Zwolinski at thestar.ca is my email. Always welcome listeners' input, criticism, anything you want. I'm always welcome it. I learn a lot from the listeners on this show and everywhere. And you can never be too big or too big for your britches to ignore that stuff. We all need to interact with people. The more information we can exchange, the better we all get. And I very, very much appreciate that exchange.
All right, that's one of the best, Mark Zwolinski from the Toronto Star, and he'll be back periodically. And Mark, by the way, you always have a job here on the Fired Up Network. I'm waiting for the days that I have to boss you around. Go cover curling, all right? Go cover curling.
Curling's a great assignment, trust me.
Yeah, because you're with the wobbly pops. I know about curling. Oh, yeah. Come on.
And they bring it to all the athletes. They bring it to you like room service. You can sit in one spot and cover it. And there's good curling out there. I enjoy watching it. So
aren't we going to a curling competition next week? You do the work, and I'm just lying down and All right, celebrating your birthday, but happy birthday! All the best. That's Mark Zwolinski from the Toronto Star. Any last comments, Mark?
Other than thank you very much, Joe, and just. Have a great Canada Day weekend to you, your family, and your listeners and their families. Stay safe, drive safe, and enjoy. It's always the best time of summer when we get to celebrate our country's birthday.
Amen to that, and oh, Canada. Thanks a lot, Mark.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. That's the one and only Scott Savage. Scott, what's going on, man?
Oh, I had a lot of fun remodeling my whole situation here. We're still not done yet, but always upward.
Onwards and upwards, just like ITG Daily, where you can join us over on youtube.com/Inside the Game Official, as well as twitch.tv/theofficialITG. But if you can't join us when we're live, hit us up later, InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, thanks to our friends over at FiredUp Network, and those beautiful TV streaming platforms around the globe. Roku, Amazon Prime, ESTV, Game Plus, the list goes on and on and on. Jenks TV is another one. Don't forget about us over there. Man, we got a couple things to talk about later on. We'll get to those another day. Scott!
Always onward, always upward.
That's just it, man. Absolutely. Yeah, the things we're cooking up right now, can't wait to talk about those. But for now, let's talk about today's show, where we're talking about a whole lot of games, as Quantic Dream's Star Wars Eclipse title appears to be targeting a 2026 release window. Yeah, not surprised. CD Projekt Red discusses the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, and your PlayStation VR 2 could work on your PC? We'll talk about that one as well. We'll see how that one goes, Scott. Well, we'll talk about it. Let's get over to Tom Henderson, over to Insider Gaming, as Star Wars Eclipse is targeting a 2026 release date. Insider Gaming sources have revealed that Star Wars Eclipse, developed by Quantic Dream, is targeting a tentative 2020, tentative, Scott, is the keyword there, 2026 release date, but it could be delayed further. I would not be surprised for 1 second if we don't get that until 2027. Man, that feels so far away, though, doesn't it?
It does. With the length of game development, though, is 2027 viable? 2026, 2028?
New generation of consoles, time will tell.
Yeah, everything slides around nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. The news comes from the same source that revealed Chinese tech giant NetEase would be acquiring Quantic Dream 6 months before it was officially announced. Well, there is that as well. Sources once again restated Quantic Dream's struggle of hiring staff following allegations of workplace issues, including sexual harassment, crunch, and toxic work culture. Scott right there goes, I don't want to work there. That's just no. That's
unfortunately in a long list of embroiled studios.
Yeah, yes, they do join a long list of other studios. It's understood that due to the scope of the Star Wars Eclipse and alleged issues of hiring staff, the game could be delayed further from 2026. Because of such date targets, Eclipse is likely the most far out Star Wars game that has been announced. So far, there are six Star Wars games in development that are yet to release. Star Wars Eclipse is described as a new action-adventure, multiple character branch narrative game set in the High Republic era of the iconic Star Wars galaxy, now early in development. It was announced in late 2022, Scott. 6 titles in development. Star Wars Eclipse. When we saw this reveal, again, cinematic reveal, right? No gameplay, no nothing. Just a cinematic teaser saying, hey, we're working on this. I'm a big fan of what Quantic Dream develops. From Heavy Rain into Detroit Become Human. These branching storylines are so well crafted that every time I play them, I'm just like, wow, man, like another immersive, extraordinary experience. But the fact that we're going to be, dude, I bet you they don't even get it in 2026. I don't think we see this until 2027, 2028 at this point.
No way, but this is ambitious, like you say. Being Quantic Dream, I expected to have a lot of heavy impact, a lot of emotionality to it. And that's going to be a really delicate thing to craft.
Especially in the Star Wars franchise, right? Everybody knows Star Wars in and out and followed it for so long, and just there's such a fan base around that. You have to be careful because we don't want something that's not going to feel Star Wars. When we just recently had Star Wars Jedi Survivor, dude, so many of us love that game, right? It was so well done. And there's a lot more to kind of take into what's coming around the corner for Star Wars. But 6 titles, Scott, are we going to get Star Wars burnout by the time this thing actually arrives?
Oh, this being a little bit delayed might actually be beneficial for that reason alone. Just because, is that too much Star Wars? We went through a long period where I felt like there was very little Star Wars releases. I'm losing my speech.
No, it was sporadic there for a while, right? We haven't seen anything. We had Star Wars, The Force Unleashed way back when. Like, it was like,
that's even...
Right?
Even way further back than I was thinking, yeah.
But then from there, what have we really had as of late? We had the Battlefront series, right? And then from there, I always get Battlefront and Battlefield mixed. But yeah, Battlefront, we've had 1 and 2, and then we've kind of tapered off. And then we get Jedi Fallen Order, and now we have Jedi Survivor, and then like what's next? And man, there's so many other games that are apparently in development. I'm anxious to see, but as well, when you talk about the TV crossover too, dude, we've had a lot of that with Andor and Mandalorian and things like that. Even Boba Fett having his own spinoff. So
I still haven't seen. I've only seen a little bit of Mandalorian, and that's all out of those 3.
Dude,
and I know
so
I'm
good.
So far behind.
Oh, you were way behind, but you got lots of time to catch up still. Not really, because there's too many games to play. Dude, let's get into this one because this is an interesting topic here. It was cool not to like it. CD Projekt Red, VP of PR, believes Cyberpunk 2077 was unfairly dunked on at launch. Are you serious? Serious?
and at lunch.
And
everybody's lunch for about a year.
Connor McCarr over VG 24/7. Mikhail Gilwinski, the vice president of public relations and communications at CD Projekt Red, has stated he believes it became, quote, not cool not to like, end quote, Cyberpunk 2077 at launch, in spite of vast technical issues and controversial practices with review copies. That's a
big one.
Well,
that very last bit there, controversial practices with review copies. That's something that we're seeing happening a little bit more often as time goes on, and it's insane to me.
Well, we experienced it too when we had our review copies come in. The funny part was they didn't come in until like right at the deadline, which is normally a sign of 2 things. One, the game isn't ready, which in this case, Cyberpunk was not ready. Clearly not ready. It wasn't that it wasn't cool not to like it. It was just nobody liked it because, well, people liked it, but they didn't like it because it wasn't finished. Even the developers themselves working on Cyberpunk said that the game wasn't ready for launch. We clearly saw it. We clearly saw the state. Man, this is a weird statement, Scott, because PlayStation themselves pulled it off the store. Right?
Yeah, and I think that kind of verifies what everybody was saying, more so than just an internet forum. I can understand a bit of that pile on. There was dogpiling happening. We can't say there was not.
No,
but
for
was
sure.
it warranted? In my opinion, it was absolutely warranted.
Well, and that's the thing. It was warranted, right? When you saw the critical reviews come out, you saw us complaining about the game, the state of the game, and then 2 years go by, right? 2 years of patches, fixes, and so forth. And then that is the game that should have launched at launch, Scott. The one that was repatched 2 years later. It was almost like a brand new Cyberpunk. And then we're getting into Phantom Liberty, which is the latest DLC coming out in September, which is revamping their entire system once again. Mm-hmm. So his statement saying that it was cool not to like it is because it was broken. There's so many issues at launch. Like, it wasn't just cool not to like it. It was just not to like it because it didn't work. That's the problem.
Yeah, it was absolutely verifiable and objectively not ready to go. This isn't a case of claiming what I'll call the Nickelback defense. It doesn't really get rid of the valid criticism there was.
No, absolutely. This quote and additional thoughts from Gawinski came from a gamesindustry.biz interview. In it, Gawinski goes to great lengths in describing the arduous journey involving
arduous.
Thank you.
I've never seen that written before.
That was weird. Threw me right off. Journey involving in bringing Cyberpunk's quality up to the expectations of the community in what he describes as an effort to, quote, fix the relationship with our players, end quote. Scott, like, I'm kind of, dude, I'm shocked. Like, I'm really shocked at the statement that I feel like he's trying to put a Band-Aid on a discussion that shouldn't have even happened. There's nothing to say. At this point, everybody's moved on and accepted the state of Cyberpunk. It wasn't just trying to fix it for the fans. It was trying to fix it for the studio, because when they launched, the studio then goes from the high of being on the Witcher franchise, coming out and being beloved, to all of a sudden this massive botch of a launch that comes off. Dude, that's why I said I can't help it, but PlayStation took it off the store. What else do you need us to tell you? Like, the game wasn't ready, right? It was bricking consoles. That was a
first, was it not?
It was. It was the first time I've ever seen it where PlayStation themselves took it off the store and you said you cannot buy it right now because it doesn't work.
Oh, and bricking consoles is just unforgivable. That goes so far beyond just bugs in a broken game. Oh,
absolutely. I actually believe Cyberpunk on launch was way better than it was received, and even the first reviews were positive. People liked the concept and the idea behind the game. They didn't like how the game ran, right? Mm-hmm. That's the thing, man. It's just, quote, then it became cool to not like it. We went from hero to zero really fast. That was a tough moment. We didn't know what was happening. We knew that the game was great. Yes, we can improve it. Yes, we need to take time to do it. And we need to rebuild some stuff. Well, then with all of that in there, from his statement alone, tells me that the game still wasn't ready, Scott.
Yeah, it feels like there was a huge amount of testing that just did not happen. Quality assurance were they truly not aware that all of these bugs were about to happen as they did?
It was just, man, what a bizarre statement to say. Like, the proof is in the pudding. Now, granted, take a look at where we are now with Cyberpunk. People are talking about this is the best time to jump into Cyberpunk because they have addressed all the issues we had at launch. So now is the time to play the game. If you haven't played Cyberpunk, the story was cool, right? Johnny Silverhand, cool character. V, cool character. The way my story ended, though, I'm going to be honest, I'm questioning a lot when it comes to the DLC coming up. Johnny's back. So, it's one of those branching storylines, right? And it's funny because you get some of these games where a sequel comes out and goes, well, we're playing off of this ending, not that ending. And I'm like, well, I took that ending. So what are you doing to me now? So how are you going to rope that back in? But I'm definitely curious. I always said I'll never go back because I've already beat it and moved on. Here we are. I'm jumping back in September. Like, it's been fixed. Kind of like reminds me of No Man's Sky, except Hello Games didn't defend themselves saying no, it was ready.
No, Hello Games just took that on the chin and moved on.
And granted, they should, just like here, right? Like this.
Yes.
This whole interview just seems weird.
Well, nobody wants Cyberpunk CD Projekt Red to cease or shut down or be hindered or hurt by this in their future. But that's because everybody loves CD Projekt Red. Let's restore them back to where they were. And this is not helping.
No, absolutely not. This perhaps is the sentiment Gawinski points towards in the interview, a rough road to a much-needed second chance. Quote, after the release, it was tough, but I knew that we had the same people. The gamers are the same. We just need to fix our relationship. The only thing we can truly do is just deliver what we are capable of. And that's the thing. We're not saying that they weren't capable. We were just saying that they weren't ready. That's the difference, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, though. Deliver what you're capable of and let it speak for itself. That's the only way I think you're going to dig out of it.
And I think now we're at a state with Cyberpunk that they are able to go in, have it updated. And this is the way we are now with games. Dude, what game launches at this point and says, here is a day one patch? Every game comes out with a day one patch now. Like, it's just automatic, right?
Oh, even Final Fantasy, I believe, when they said they would not have a day one patch, reversed that and had a day one patch. That is just the world we live in.
It is. I thought they didn't, though, so I might be wrong on stating that. I don't recall getting a day one patch, but that might just be me. So I may have missed it because it just automatically updates in the background. So I might have missed it altogether. Yeah. Scott, let's get into something I'm working on right now and playing is some PSVR 2. That's right. I'm playing my PlayStation VR 2 right now. So stay tuned on that one. Will eventually be compatible with PC, claims Windows Driver's creator. I don't think this is going to work, Scott.
I have my Rift S right next to me. Could this be my upgrade to a PlayStation VR?
Maybe, right? Chris Scullion over at VGC says, it's possible to make PlayStation VR 2 compatible with PC. The creator of PlayStation VR Windows drivers has claimed. The Ivory driver is a piece of Steam software which adds custom drivers for other non-PC headsets, such as PlayStation VR, Gear VR, or Google Daydream. This allows players to connect these headsets to their PC and use them to play Steam VR games without having to buy a separate dedicated PC VR headset. Since the launch of PlayStation VR in February, Ivory has been trying to determine whether it's possible to make Sony's new headset compatible with VR on PC too. Now, after 4 months, it's come to the conclusion that it is indeed possible to use PlayStation VR 2 on PC, but that it will require more work and likely need extra custom-made hardware. Yikes. Quote, PSVR 2 was blocking VR modes by saying it couldn't do digital Steam compression. I retweeted. This is all coming via Twitter, Scott, which is just mind-blowing. Sony's going to catch up on this, and again, they're going to block you, man.
Oh, it's again the world we live in.
Yes, it is. We continue on. We modified an AMD open source Linux GPU driver to force the DSC. Now, we know how to put the PSVR 2 into VR mode, so we can design some hardware to do it on Windows. Quote, can PSVR be used on PC? PSVR 2 be used on PC? Yes. End quote. Scott, how long do you think this is actually functional before Sony comes in and says, nah, that ain't happening?
I suspect it's happening quickly. Sony may already have conversations about this happening because I suspect if this is capable, this may be just something Sony is planning to bring forward. At some point, they go, check out PlayStation games on PC. That would be kind of strange because they've been cagey about going to PC. But I feel like that's changing. The tide is changing on that.
It is starting to change, right? We are starting to see God of War, Drake, Uncharted come over. Even Horizon came over to PC. Will we get the PSVR 2 lineup as well coming over to PC? Which then, yeah, Sony's not going to let somebody else come in and go, hey, you're going to play it this way on our platform. Like, that's not a Sony move, right? Where I feel it's more of like an Xbox thing. Going, hey, we'll just put our hands out everywhere and say, yeah, you can play
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it is noted that due to Sony's design choices, an extra piece of hardware will be needed to get PSVR 2 running on PC. Quote, everyone will need an adapter from some AMD users still on Linux. It explained to another follower. Quote, that adapter doesn't exist yet. There we go. We have to design and build one. Then hopefully some hardware company will pick it up and mass produce it. End quote. Scott, this sounds like it's still far off. We're far away from getting this yet.
Oh, I just had the thought, well, perhaps PlayStation, if they're not planning on doing it, maybe they are now. This is one way of getting a job.
Maybe.
It kind of reminds me of the hacking console or the arms race between hackers and companies. Eventually the best hacker just gets a job at the company. And that's where I see this going if it is quite successful.
Yeah. Scott, we were talking about the crossover between movies and television and gaming. Here we go again. An Among Us animated series is coming, but who is the imposter? Grant Taylor Hill over at Insider Gaming. Is it green? Is it red? Is it that weird canon or cyan kind of shade that nobody can ever identify correctly?
It's seafoam.
It doesn't have any kind of release window just yet, but it has been revealed that the Among Us, the absolute smash hit of an indie game that took the world by storm following its release in 2018. I feel like it took like 2 or 3 years to pick up steam, but it got there. Is getting an animated series. It has been said that an all-new production will be based around the core premise of the game itself, which sees a crew of hapless space explorers running around a ship and performing several tasks while being hunted by aliens that have come to host one or more crewmates. This is Scott. How do you feel about this?
It sounds kind of wacky on its face. Among Us kind of coming into but think about the premise of the game here. This has been done before several times. It's called The Thing. And it's almost exactly the concept. One of us is not as we appear.
No, for sure. Yo, we played this a lot. We had a ton of fun. It was a great game. I feel like it kind of came and went. I'm sure some people are still playing it. It was just nature of what we do. We always tend to quickly move on, unfortunately, sometimes, right? But it's one of those, interesting take that they want to grab this IP. We even saw at one point the Epic Games themselves take it and put it into Fortnite without talking to the team about Among Us and just kind of whatever. I remember seeing a tweet from Among Us going, "Hey, Epic, would be nice if we talked a little." Right?
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those, they flat out just kind of took your idea and put it into Fortnite, never even asked. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird to see, but now we're getting an animated series. Okay. Scott, are you going to check it out?
I am very curious. Yeah. If this comes to fruition, I will be checking this out. I'm not sure how to get to it though.
Fair enough. It's not really, nothing else is really known about it. Just that it's in production or it's coming. So yeah, very little is known. We'll probably hear more. I'm probably not going to check it out if I'm being honest. That's just me. Nope. But what I will check out is Bandai Namco will be hosting its own summer showcase from Anime Expo in 2023. This is Kelsey Gaynor over at VG247. That's right. The summer of showcases isn't over just yet. Man, oh man, it keeps going, Scott.
There are still few.
Yeah, there definitely are. If you're hoping to catch Bandai Namco's summer showcase live, you'll be able to tune in on July 1st, Scott, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Or 4:30. There's a typo here somewhere, Scott. We got 7:30 p.m. as well as 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Something's wrong. I'm gonna say it's 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Was probably when we'll be able to catch that. We'll see what comes out of them. I expect Tekken to be there just because that's a big push for them this year. Otherwise, any hopes, Scott?
Not particularly. No, I don't really have too much that I can think of that would jump out. Soul Calibur is my fighter.
Yeah.
But Soul Calibur 6 I actually just bought. I don't know if there will be a 7.
Fair enough. Really?
Although we're seeing a resurgence of the Street Fighter Tekken. So it's unclear if there is going to be a new Soul Calibur, but I've not seen or heard any mention of Soul Calibur in so long.
It's really gone quiet, hasn't it? Yeah, we've got Street Fighter 6 out. We got a new Tekken coming out. Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out. We have Riot working on Project L, which is their fighter. Like, there's a lot of resurgence right now in the fighting genre, making its way up. I am highly anticipating Mortal Kombat 1. I cannot wait to jump back into that world. I saw they had a beta test over the weekend. I was like, man, I missed out on that one. My weekend was pretty busy. This weekend's no different. But maybe, do you think we'll see anything on Elden Ring?
Oh, there's always the possibility there. I don't remember what the last state of. Is there a conversation to do with DLC? I can't remember the last that conversation was left off. Because at first there was, and then there wasn't. But it looked like there was planned content.
Well, there is DLC on the way, right?
Time to announce it.
Yeah, but
I don't recall. I don't recall any of the details to do with it. I think there was just an acceptance. Yes. you do see big empty places where DLC could go.
Yeah. There's a few of them, definitely. But there's also a few games out today. Scott, what do we have?
We have AEW Fight Forever. That's on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, the Switch, and PC. And Lara Croft Collection is on the Switch.
You interested in that collection?
I am, actually. It's been so long since I played a good, well, we'll say Lara Croft game.
Man. Did you like the reboot of the franchise?
I did. I'm not certain which ones I've played now and which ones I haven't, because there's one of the three that I'm missing.
Probably the latest one. That's where that's my window. That's the one I missed too. Got into the first one, the reboot of the first one, which actually introduced multiplayer, which kind of surprised a lot of people.
It was weird, but it was really good.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I know some really didn't feel it was necessary to put it in, which was kind of one of those, I feel like you're grasping to extend the life of the Tomb Raider game, and that's kind of where it was. But it was a solid game. I had a good time. I played it for quite a while, actually, surprisingly enough. And then
I mentioned to you that I deleted all my DVR stuff on Xbox. That includes a whole lot of me destroying that game online. That was so good.
It was a fun game to play, that's for sure. So I don't know. We do know that Crystal right now is working on another one of Tomb Raider. So, but it's probably going to join Eclipse though and come out in 2026 or 2028, somewhere around there. I think we're
for a long time.
yeah. No, I think we're definitely a ways off before we get anything out of the new one, because they're also working on. We just talked about yesterday, Scott. Who else are they helping right now with one of their titles? It was an Xbox studio. Scott, why am I going blank here? I don't know. It's gonna escape me. It'll probably come back to me tomorrow. That's someone will be back, of course. You can join us.
Helping with Perfect Dark, perhaps?
That's what it is. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Feels so much better. There. Now we can leave the show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Drew. That's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.
Flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Welcome to CFL No Yards, and welcome back to the Hall of Famer, John Freeman Nelson of OSG Sports in Atlanta. By the way, hopefully you had a belated happy birthday.
Most certainly did. So did the boss. And so just so everybody knows, she now has an official title. She is now Dame of Sealand. So
we'll repeat that. Dame of what?
Well, Sealand. It is a principality in international waters off the eastern coast of England, and you can buy like titles and stuff. And so I got her. Basically, it's a knighthood for that particular principality.
Hey, hold on. She got that. Since I'm the president of Provinces of Canada, when can I expect my crown
that's a Canadian question, brother. If you're the PPC and the MENA, then you gotta work on that there inside those territorial areas. This was
I'm busy Saturday. It's Canada Day.
International water, brother.
I got to drink my Molson and have my hot dogs and all that. But also, I'm not gonna talk to you. So happy Independence Day to you on July 4th. And I'm gonna go away from CFL for a second. Since July 4th, what is it on a Tuesday? Yes. Do you take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off?
I don't. Friday.
Everybody else does.
Monday would be the off day for folks because because July 4th is on a Monday, so it would be a 4-day weekend. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
July 4th is on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. So people take Monday off because it's right there in between. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. July 4th is Tuesday. Back to work on Wednesday, and no one's productive. So there you go.
All right, there you go. But any big plans for July 4th?
The boss is participating in the largest 10K in the United States. And so she is getting up early in the morning. I think this will be her 5th or 6th time that she is participating in it. She's going to get up early, and she and some friends are going to be walking the 10K. You get a T-shirt and a medal as a part of it. And then after that, she's going to have pizza, and then she's going to take a long nap.
And please address her as what's her new title?
Dame Patricia Nelson of Sealand. I do. Well, you got to figure out. I don't know if I have
Patricia Nelson.
Yeah, it's an official name, an official title. I don't know if I have to bow before entering every room that she's in yet. We're still trying to figure out.
Get used to bowing because I'll bow in front of the president. All right, we get to We get to week 4. I can't believe it's week 4
I
in
know.
the Canadian Football League. It begins tomorrow, Friday, June 30th, 7:30, Edmonton. And I don't know, maybe you're playing quarterback for Edmonton, all right? Because they got 6 quarterbacks and they're not happy with each
No.
against the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Yeah, it looks like the Elks turned to Jarrett Doge in the second half of the match against Toronto. Red Blacks did the same thing. Went to Tyree Adams in favor of Nick Arbuckle. Doge took first team snaps, and so you're waiting for confirmation on who's going to start. I'm just going to go home team just because of that 3 points that the juice boxes traditionally put on a home team favorite. So I'm going to go Ottawa gets off the schneid with these two teams that are a combined 0-5.
I go opposite. I think Edmonton will finally get a win, probably by a point or two. I think Edmonton will have the upset of the year so far. All right, for Canada Day. Oh, Canada. By the way, you know what's going on for me for Oh Canada? John, I got to be honest. We got free agent frenzy, 11 a.m. on Canada Day.
Yeah.
We got Money in the Bank at 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Then, 3 to 6, watch Money in the Bank, report on it and all that. Then 6 to do a recap of Free Agents Frenzy. Then 9 o'clock, have a little bit of Molson, all right? And then to tune it off with, maybe some Saturday Night Live or something like that. Busy Saturday, all right? But Canada Day, a very big game now. Winnipeg and Montreal. Montreal undefeated. Winnipeg surprising, getting hammered last week by BC.
Yeah, Montreal, this is the first time. Here's your piece of trivia. Montreal is hosting a game on Canada Day with Winnipeg coming to town, 2-0 versus 2-1. Owls beat the Ticats 38-12. Cody Fajardo completed 3 out of every 4 passes, 292-2. Bombers lose to BC, and Winnipeg, here's your piece of trivia here. Winnipeg has never lost back-to-back games with Zach Collaros as your starting quarterback. 29-5 with him under center. I think because of that, I think that the Bombers get the win here. I'm going to go with that piece of trivia and work my way forward. So it'll be, I think, Winnipeg. I think this is probably going to end up being the game of the weekend, if not the next one that we talk about. But no, this one will be really interesting. I'm going to go with Winnipeg with the win on the road.
I can't disagree. I think Montreal will and could have upset, but I can't disagree. Winnipeg's not going to lose 2 in a row, all right? Winnipeg's not going to lose 2-0, but if there is, I think Montreal's ready for an upset.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm right there with you, but no, I think that I just think that this is going to be a get right game for Winnipeg because of the offensive line not keeping Collaros upright last week, and so I think that they're going to take it personally, and I think that's why they get the win.
Now, the reigning, defending, I don't know if you
undefeated,
defending,
undisputed.
Look at that, undisputed. Yes, undisputed. Yeah, I got the ring and everything. Grey Cup champions, the Toronto Argonauts, play at BMO Field Monday, July 3rd, against the BC Lions, who's also undefeated, but not a bad. They got the Bill Belichick schedule. They play Sunday night, and now Monday night. All right, so because there's some teams who play Saturday and then they play Thursday here already. Okay, so this is a very big game for the Argos. BC undefeated, and let's face it, BC coming off a huge victory, 30-6 in Winnipeg.
Yeah,
right. Nobody would have thought that the Argos, beating Edmonton, and they let Edmonton in the last quarter and all that. But and honestly, July 3rd. I'm speaking as a CFL fan, a Torontonian. Go out and support the CFL. What is there going to happen in Toronto July 3rd, coming off Canada Day weekend? There's nothing happening here. Go out and support the Argos. Hopefully they get about 25,000. The first game they said they got 15, but really I called my guy and the 6,200 seats sold, all right? And that's why I could get a ring. They gave away first 15,000, but
wow.
There weren't 15,000 there, all right? So what do you expect between BC and the Argos? A battle on the undefeated.
I've got to go with BC here just because they've only allowed 21 points in their first 3 games. And, the Argos had a field day against Edmonton. A.J. Ouellette had 3 touchdowns on the ground. I don't think that Toronto is going to get that kind of offensive firepower against this BC defense, who for me right now is one of the favorites to win it all here, as we're way too early in the season. So your way too early prediction, BC will be in the discussion toward the end of it all. I just think that BC's defense is too stout right now, so I'll go with BC in a tight one.
All games this weekend I could disagree on. And I disagreed on one, and I'm going to go with Winnipeg because Winnipeg's not going to lose 2 in a row, but I disagree. I believe, because they gave me a Grey Cup ring.
Yes.
I believe, you got to support. You got a ring. Look, and by the way, you see where I'm wearing it. It's the pinky because it only fits the pinky, all right? Mm-hmm. So I need to get resized and everything like that. But anyways, I think the Argos are going to show the CFL that not only they're the reigning, defending Grey Cup champions, undefeated, and they may be back for a 2-peat, maybe a 3-peat, maybe a 4-peat. But I think this week, the Argos win a very, very close game. I could say 27-23. And we close it up with this one. Mm-hmm. I have a good friend in Buffalo named Jim Kelly, all right? And his nephew plays for the Argos. Number 12, all right? Chad Kelly. I got to say, I've been very, very impressed with Chad Kelly. What do you say, John?
Well, I mean, we've got the chance to see Chad Kelly at Clemson and Ole Miss. And so you've had the opportunity. I mean, Chad, after he lit it up in the Southeast Conference at Ole Miss, he wasn't getting a whole lot of reps at Clemson. So then he goes to community college, spends a year there, goes to Ole Miss, lights it up. I think that's the quarterback that you were looking for when you were in Denver and Indianapolis and not getting any reps. And so the fact that he got the opportunity to be a part of a Grey Cup champ last year and is getting to be in a league where he can throw it all over the place. I mean, his junior year at Ole Miss, he threw for over 4,000 yards, threw for almost 2,800 in his senior season at Ole Miss. So being in a league where you can express yourself, I guess, for lack of a better word. And I mean, he wasn't afraid to tuck and run either. That junior season where he threw over 4,000 yards, he also rushed for 10 touchdowns. So I think that what you're getting is someone who really can sling it around the yard. And I think that Toronto has been able to capitalize on what those of us who saw him in the SEC knew he could do if he was put in the right system.
All right, that's, Chad Kelly, and hopefully he continues his climb up there, because I still don't think we've seen anything yet. I think he could do 20, 30, 50% more, and he's doing a great job, but I think the ceiling hasn't been set yet for Chad Kelly there. All right, John, one question about football, the other type of football.
Sure.
This coach, Tata Martino, now back here and with Inter Miami and coaching, Messi and Busquets and all that. By the way, for those who don't know, Inter Miami, the worst team in the league. All right, the worst.
Well, yeah, worse than the East. And I mean, it is and Colorado's worse than the West by 1 point at 2-9-8. So, and LAG is also at 15 points, but yeah, they are not good this year. No.
And by the way, John may or may not be back for tomorrow, the soccer show. I may give you guys a surprise, give you guys the weekend off since in a great mood. But final question: you're in the America here, and is anybody talking about the Canadian Football League? I mean, now we have the XFL, the USFL, everything, and it's on TV, Fox, and everywhere. Do they talk about the CFL?
Only in the cases of where you have a market like where folks want to know about a Chad Kelly. So you might get a Chad Kelly update in Memphis. You might get a Chad Kelly update in the state of in Jackson, Mississippi, or something like that. Literally, it is an athlete by athlete basis in the market where they were either as a professional football player or where they were doing something in college. So for Chad, it would be in Jackson, Mississippi. It would be in the Mississippi TV markets, or it would be in Memphis, Tennessee.
All right, John, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Easiest ways on the Twitters, right there. You see it, at OSG Nelson. You can also follow along at OSG Sports. Don't forget to download the OSG Sports app, available iOS and Android right there. Book number 6, Noble Strong Lessons in Destiny. Go to Amazon, do an Amazon.com author search, Jon, See, Jon, John, no H. Or doing Noble Strong Lessons in Destiny search there when it comes to the author section, book number 6 right there. Great book about a fantastic family fighting a soulless beast in cancer as the patriarch was chasing after a football title as a head football coach in a very small town, and how the town and the region and the coaching community responded to his fight and the family's fight that season when they were chasing a championship. So right there, Amazon.com, Noble Strong Lessons in Destiny, John Nelson, author search right there.
And like I said, John may be back with Giancarlo Lino and the coach Carmen Asako tomorrow around 12:15, 12:30 for the world's famous soccer show. John, we disagreed on all our picks except one. All right.
I'm shocked.
You're shocked, but
yes.
I'm 80, 90%. You're 20%. So let's see what happens. But have a great Independence Day. Have a great Canada Day. And hopefully we'll talk to you tomorrow. If we don't, have a great weekend. For John Nelson, stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. And John, download us on Momitu. Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Hasek, and you're watching the Fired Up Network flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. We got some breaking news and some big breaking news in the world of professional hockey, ladies professional hockey, and I'm going to reveal it, and I'm going to try to get both Digit and Taylor Woods on here, but both the PWHPA and the PHF have calls right now, town hall meetings. It looks like the PHF and PWHPA are together. Let's call it that. It's not a merge. It's together. And sources have indicated to me that Billie Jean King Enterprises and Mark Walter Group have purchased the PHF. And right now there's a meeting going on to tell all the players about the PWHPA and also the PHF, and it's being now bought by Billie Jean King Enterprises. Like I said, I'm going to try to endeavor to get both Digit Murphy and Taylor Woods on here after the schedule segments. But here right now, Saturday is WWE Money in the Bank, premier live event from London, England. Myself and Giancarlo Lino preview that on the wrestling show / on the mat wrestling show. And we'll be back after that segment. To the Fired Up Live, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the wrestling show. Welcome to Giancarlo Lino. Let's quickly get to it. Wrestling, followed by the On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of premier live event, Money in the Bank. But wrestling show, Giancarlo, you attended Collision, Forbidden Door, also Dynamite. I don't know if you went last night, but all in all, what did you think of this week's events here in Toronto and in Hamilton?
Yeah, I went to Collision and Forbidden Door, Dynamite. I unfortunately missed last night, but I have to catch up on that.
Wow, you don't want to go to Hamilton,
eh? Yeah, so Collision, I'll say I like the pacing of the show compared to Dynamite. I thought it's a lot easier to consume if you're a fan. There's not so much going on. Like, it's easy to keep track of what's going on. I like Miro. They gave him his promo. I would have been nice to see him in the arena, but nice little vignette there. Andrade, again, he's been the MVP so far of that show. He's going to have like the best match of the night there. CM Punk got booed out. Then it got to a mixed reaction. Then he got booed again. They made the Bullet Club get the win there. So that was a nice touch for the fans. And after the show, CM Punk addressed the crowd. He had to bring up the Toronto Maple Leafs here. So I think that was a little bit of cheap heat that I thought Christian did better.
Did he sign Phil Kessel?
Not yet. That's on the weekend that Phil Kessel's coming back. But Christian did it better. The way he addressed the crowd, I thought the way CM Punk did it was like, okay, he mentioned the Leafs, but Christian did it better.
Now, all right, let's get to, by the way, for people in Hamilton, Argos Championship ring, if you could see that for a second. Championship ring Argos, all right. Let's talk about Forbidden Door, specifically 2 matches. Let's start off with Bryan Danielson and Okada. Bryan Danielson wrestles 10 minutes with a broken freaking arm, wins the match, makes the guy tap out with a broken, sorry for Kurt Angle, but broken freaking arm. Carlo.
Yeah, it was a good match. I didn't really notice the spot because I get like the way he was able to carry on. You wouldn't have thought that he did something really bad, but the way the match ended, you knew okay, something had to have happened for. I don't know why they would end it like that. It was kind of anticlimactic a little bit based on like Okada just tapping out the way he did. Like there was something there, and I guess after came out that in the press conference where he talked about that he broke his arm or he fractured his arm, and then we found out a couple days later there was a break. So credit to him. Match was pretty good. I thought that Kenny and Will Ospreay was the best
I'll get
match
to
though.
that.
So
I'll get to that. All right, I'll get to that. Relax. Okay, just relax there. But he wrestled, and this guy's come back from a broken neck and everything like that. And he's not wrestling like Ryback. He's wrestling one of the other best wrestlers in the world. So kudos to both of them. And the crowd here at the Aircat or Scotiabank Arena, amazing throughout the Forbidden Door. What would you say?
yeah, even for some of the guys that you wouldn't think like would be a little under the radar, like they were into it the whole show. Orange Cassidy, massive pop for him. Big fan of Orange Cassidy's in Toronto. A lot of guys were going crazy, and I predicted there, he saved his energy for the last 6 months to put on that kind of performance. So I wouldn't expect that for another few months. Maybe at All Out he'll reserve a little bit more energy to run across the ropes.
All right, you talk about Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, uh, 40 minutes of glory. Now, is this the best match you ever seen live?
Yeah, recency. Like I haven't seen too many events live, but I would say so. The crowd was into it from the start. Will Ospreay had that entrance too. Kenny Omega going back to his old entrance. Just the story, the false finishes, the way Kenny got up and the near fall. He had his foot on the rope when you thought it'd be over after I think it was a screwdriver that Don Callis gave Will
Mhm.
Ospreay. So the crowd after that, it looked like he hulked up a little bit. He had a hulk up moment where he kicked out at one. And I'd never heard a crowd like that. That was insane. So it was a really good match. The only thing I really didn't like that in hindsight, I hope they don't do anymore is that I don't know what that move was called, Tiger Driver
Yeah, the bump.
90 some yeah, whatever Tiger Driver, whatever number that is, but like I don't know, Kenny Omega, like you're risking something of for a one moment, and it didn't even end the match. So if there's one thing I hope they don't do anymore, it's that move. Even though they're both like they trust each other, I wouldn't do that move anymore if I'm those guys.
And you mentioned entrance theme music. What a way, Bryan Danielson. It's the final count. That was his music 10 years ago. Really great there. And of course, did you say hi to my good Jewish friend?
I didn't see him on
MJF for the first match of the night. Come on. First match
Oh
of the
no, yeah,
night.
but I didn't see him around because you know what he said on Saturday. He wasn't gonna stay in Toronto in Canada with
No, he went.
Canadians.
He
So
went. We broke bread here. We had some challah, good luckus and everything like that. All right, and I gotta. Only you can answer this. All right, are you ready for this? I hear the pyro is a lot hot.
oh yeah, amazing flames shooting right in. Yeah, amazing. So other than that, it was good. It's just the flames. I wasn't expecting it to be like that when I'm
This is
drinking
why
water.
you don't talk to Joe and you get yourself tickets right where the pyro is. Like, you thought you were Kane, all right? You thought you were Kane there, okay?
Yeah, so it was fun. The media were kind of surprised. The ones that were there that night were the flames. Yeah, I didn't think it would be that close when they shoot those flames off. But on TV, it's really close. So those are good seats, I guess. You get your money's worth.
All right, so then we have Dynamite from Hamilton, and let's give it to Renee Paquette and John Moxley. They're getting involved in angles. First of all, I got to say this. Adam Cole was supposed to fight on Sunday at Forbidden Door. He was sick. Yesterday, Britt Baker, DMD, was sick also. She'll face Ruby Soho this week. I don't know what's... And also, the guy from, the Acclaimed, Max Caster, was sick also. So I don't know if it's COVID, if they're really sick, or funny going around here. So AEW, great, Collision, Forbidden Door, Dynamite, Rampage taped yesterday, Collision taping today as we speak, MJF fighting on Collision. All right. So also, don't forget, AEW has a pay-per-view, not Premier Live event, August 27th, All In London, Wembley Stadium. Then All Out in Chicago, September 3rd. Then Grand Slam also on September 20th. And as I mentioned, I was the first one to say this, Blood and Guts, July 19th from Boston. A lot of events from AEW. And AEW's picking up steam to say the least. Now, WWE, you want to touch on anything WWE before we get to the preview of Money in the Bank?
Yeah, my pick for Money in the Bank is I'm having
Don't say it
second
yet. We're
thoughts.
not talking about Money
Yeah.
in the Bank yet, but anything from Raw or SmackDown that you want to talk about?
Yeah, Dominic Mysterio
Dom
is
Dom.
he's a guy that they need to build around. I don't know if he's obviously not going to be Cody, but he's the biggest heel and Cody's the biggest face. I just hope that after this match they have it at some direction for Dom because I think there's a lot of money there.
Wait, hold on. I want you on international TV right now. All right, you mentioned Dom. Ask Dom how his mommy is doing. Go ahead,
She's
Carl.
a champion. She's a champion.
No. Ask him how his mommy's doing.
I think we all know she's a champion.
Whatever. All right. So this week, definitely momentum to AEW. One thing about AEW, every match doesn't have to have blood. John Moxley, number 1 yesterday. Hangman Page, number 1. Chris Jericho, number 1. Sting announces he's going to have stitches on his lip. So Giancarlo, no kissing of Sting, all right? That's 4 people, and they had 5 matches. Doesn't have to, and wait a minute, blood and guts, all right? Are you mad? Every match has blood? What is going on? And you're telling me blood and guts is not going to have blood? Come on. Their name is Blood and Guts, Carlo. Now, AEW, definitely this week better than WWE?
Yeah, I would say so. In terms of just the crowd and everything, I would give them the edge. But WWE now is going to the UK, and that crowd is going to be hot for the whole show. I don't see it being like those moments where they're not doing anything. So I think WWE will have a nice weekend.
We'll have a nice weekend. Starting tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, it's live. So they're taping the event to show it at 8 p.m. on on Fox and everything like that. But again, 3 p.m. live tomorrow. SmackDown from the O2 Arena in London, the same arena where you're gonna have Money in the Bank. And Giancarlo, do I have to tell you? Do you know what Money in the Bank is? Money in the Bank, for Giancarlo who doesn't know, it's not a pay-per-view. It's a Premier Live event. All right. Welcome to the On the Mat Wrestling Show, WWE Money in the Bank Premier Live event preview with Giancarlo Lino. We're going to get to it. It's this Saturday, July 4th at 3 p.m. London, it's 8 p.m. And they'll have a pre-show, but also July 1st. Giancarlo's going on the limb. It's Canada Day. So, Giancarlo, you want to tell me anything on Canada Day? That's right, Giancarlo. Go ahead, stand up, sing the national anthem.
Oh, I thought it meant for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think 4th of July would be a nice day to announce that Phil Kessel's returning to the Toronto Maple Leafs on a one-year deal.
This guy, what are you, the hot dog vendor for Maple Leafs and Phil Kessel? You really believe that Phil Kessel is going to be part of the Maple Leafs this year?
4th of July, I'm confident.
1st of July, July 1st, it's Canada Day, it's free agency frenzy. I digress. All right. By the way, Giancarlo, you're not doing anything on Saturday. It's Canada Day. I pay you triple the time on Canada Day. You're going to be doing updates on free agency. Then you're going to watch the Money in the Bank. Then you're going to recap the Money in the Bank. Then you're going to do UFC Fight Night. All right. Good. All right. Let's get to Money in the Bank Premier Live Event card. All right. Let's start off with the women's tag team titles. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler versus the returning Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Go ahead, Giancarlo.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a status quo with the tag division. I think Liv Morgan will have her moments, Raquel will have her moments, but Ronda's going to get the win for her team. Probably making Liv tap out.
Dom, say hi to mommy, Giancarlo, don't forget, versus Cody Rhodes. Say hi to Pharaoh the dog.
Yeah, Cody's going to win. I see this going, and I don't know if it's going to be a really long match. I think Dom is going to get some moments there, but Cody has to win this. I think they'll tease something after the match with like Damian Priest, but I think eventually we'll see Dominic in a feud with a returning Carlito. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Carlito, hey, yeah, take away that apple, all right? Give it to the doctor. You know what they say? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Becky Lynch, Selena Vega, Zoe Starks, Bayley, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Go ahead, Carlo.
Yeah, initially I thought Io would be the one to win this. It looks like they really want to push her, as we saw on Monday, and just everything. But I think after what we saw in that whole segment, Bayley and Io are going to probably feud, where I don't think Io is going to have the briefcase, but I'm going to go with Trish Stratus winning the Money in the Bank. She has Zoe in her corner in the match. I think Zoe is going to help Trish win, and Io and Bayley are going to feud, and eventually we'll see Becky and Trish for the title.
So, Giancarlo, don't you remember what you saw on Raw? You saw hints of Becky and Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's the champion. Becky Lynch could win the Money in the Bank and feud with, because Charlotte with Asuka, Charlotte with Bianca. That's already a three-way going on happening. So it looks like in this match, yes, Trish could win it. Zoe Stark's not going to win it. Bayley not going to win it. Io Sky is not going to win it. Okay? So Selena Vega, she's been there, done that. So it comes down to Becky and Trish. You say Trish. Good Canadian, good Greek. You have any words in Greek to say? No. All right. But, I'll lean to the man, because I'm the man, the president of provinces of Canada, the mayor-elect of North America. By the way, Giancarlo, since you didn't vote for me for the mayor of Toronto, I did not run. I needed your vote to run, and I did not run.
I'm not a Toronto resident, so...
Woodbridge resident. Okay, I'm running for the mayor of Woodbridge. Scarafetti, or whatever his name is. Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, Logan Paul, and let me hear you. Let me talk to you. L.A. Knight. Not to be confused with DMD. Get it? L.A. Knight. Go ahead.
Yeah, Butch is going to get a huge pop here. I wonder if he's going to be Pete Dunne in this match. Butch, and they'll have Pete Dunne when they get the pop for him, but he's going to get a lot of offense in. I think this is where they're going to showcase him and really get the crowd behind him for after this match, leading into SmackDown and whatever feud he goes on to. But I'd love to see LA Knight win. But with Logan Paul coming into the match, I think Seth Rollins taking on Finn Balor, I think it's going to probably lead to Logan Paul winning the briefcase and him leaving Money in the Bank as a champion.
Say that again.
It's going to win the briefcase. LA Knight is going to be the fan favorite. They're going to be upset. Logan Paul is going to win the briefcase. LA Knight will be probably feuding for. They'll give him like a complimentary thing, like you got over feud with Austin Theory, and Logan Paul is going to cash in that night on Seth Rollins and pin him because they had a feud from WrestleMania, and that's going to pick up for SummerSlam. Logan Paul is a champion taking on Seth Rollins.
Oh my gosh! And this is the same guy. Who did you say the Maple Leafs are going to sign?
Phil the Thrill, America Day, American national hero Phil Kessel,
Intercontinental Champion Gunther. Say it from your bottom of your stomach versus Matt Riddle.
Yeah, this is another one where I don't see Riddle winning, and even if he were to win, like I don't know if that's who you want Gunther to drop the title to. So I'll go Gunther winning, but I think this match will be pretty long. I say it might be like a 20-minute match or close to it. It looks like they really want to build Matt Riddle up as a singles guy and show that he's capable of having these long matches. Even the last year he's had a few, but since he's been brought back, I think this is where they're going to have him lose a hard-fought match.
All right. And as you can see the background here, the Bloodline Civil War. All right. So wait a minute. I have a question for you. If this is a civil war between family members, isn't that not civil? Let me talk to you. Answer the question already.
Yeah, I'm just as confused by that. So, yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa versus the Usos. Who is your pick?
The Usos, I think, win this, and Jey Uso is going to get the win for his team. And main event, Jey Uso and Roman are going to start that feud again that they had 3 years ago that started this whole bloodline storyline. And Jey is going to challenge Roman for the Universal title at SummerSlam.
Well, that's Giancarlo. By the way, Giancarlo, what time's the show start?
2 p.m. pre-show, 3 p.m. Start time.
All right. 2 p.m. pre-show, 3 p.m. start time from London's O2 Arena. What time does SmackDown start?
3 p.m. Is when they're recording it, and I guess they're going to air it at 8 p.m. and all the people will read the spoilers online and find out if they want to watch it.
Next premier live event for the WWE is SummerSlam August 5th. The next one is in Pittsburgh. All right, Pittsburgh September 2nd, and then I believe October 8th or 7th is the next premier live event. By the way, they just announced the Royal Rumble will be coming to Orlando's Camping World Stadium in January, I hear. So that's another. Every time it looks like they're moving Royal Rumble to big stadiums. WrestleMania, of course, it's WrestleMania. SummerSlam to big stadiums. But my question is, that's the fourth one is Survivor Series. Maybe they don't move it to stadiums because it's November, it's cold or whatever. So why don't they just go west every Survivor Series and have it in football stadiums or stadiums where it's a roof, where it's hot, like in Phoenix, in Florida, or something like that? Have that, because traditionally, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series are the big four. They want to put in Money in the Bank now as the number 5, right? So, but what do you think? Why don't they have November Premier Live events in big stadiums?
I think it's even just Survivor Series. Maybe they're finding it's not as popular, even though they've been trying to push it. It's like all tag matches, and I think they need to do something because Survivor Series has kind of lost its appeal in the last few years, even though they've tried to add like War Games elements to it. So maybe they can do something, experiment with a baseball stadium and see what that works. But I think Royal Rumble, that's always been, they've been trying to go to baseball stadiums, and then last year and this year it looks like the football ones. But I would like to see Royal Rumble maybe go to Toronto at Rogers Center, can close the
You mean
dome
Survivor
and the roof.
Series?
No, I like Royal Rumble better. I wouldn't want to see Survivor Series. So
Survivor Series, what's here? The big upset, Goldberg beating Brock Lesnar, right? So that's a big upset, but we'll see. By the way, Brock Lesnar coming back to face Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, all right? Facing Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. So that's going to be one of the big matches at SummerSlam. And Roman Reigns may go up against Jey Uso or may go up against a guy just coming out right now. I'm just reading it. Giancarlo, he had one of the best matches in the last 10 years.
Yeah, that will be up to Carmen and John.
No, it's up to me. I'm the boss. I'm the president of Provinces of Canada. I'm asking you, do you want a day off or do you want a show?
I wouldn't mind either way.
All right, you're
so if they want
alone then. All right. Sorry, we're going. I have to do a major announcement here. First of all, coming up right now, former Toronto Raptor Kyle Lowry with the Junkyard Dog Jerome Williams, and then around 9:25, 9:30, we got Digit Murphy and Taylor Woods discussing the PHF and PWHPA merging with Billie Jean King Enterprises, a worldwide exclusive coming up. So these are two exclusive interviews right now. One with Kyle Lowry and Marcus Banks, and also Digit Murphy and Taylor Woods coming up right now. Here's Kyle Lowry.
Got a couple nice whips drive during the week. Store runs, family times, we keep it discreet. But when that sunshine bright and I'm ready to drive, I got them big boy toys in the baller's garage. I got a couple nice whips drive during the week. Store runs, family times, we keep it discreet. But when that sunshine bright and I'm ready to drive, I got them big boy toys in the baller's garage. I give 110 on the court. It's my life on the line, living a dream. So what I do is really not a sport. Losing ain't an option, so get ready to win. Pull up with two Maseratis, yeah, they calling us twins. And the Lambo is clean, you can see your own reflection.
Today on Baller's Garage, I got a special friend of mine. His name is Kyle Lowry, better known as K-Lo. This cat, Toronto Raptors, but he was formerly Houston Rockets. And before that, Biggie's Villanova. Well, Baller's Garage, we gotta go check him out. I need my Dog Pound insiders to tell me exactly where K-Lo's new location is. Every 5 minutes, you know these NBA players, they're changing locations. So B, what's up, man? I need the down low on K-Lo. Where's he at? Where are we going? What's going on?
I got the location on Kyle. Gated community out in Las Vegas, and
right.
You think we can't get him? I had the dog sniffing around,
that's it.
And we
Sniff,
found
sniff.
exactly where Kyle's at.
This is it. This is what Baller Garage is all about.
Right now, I'm in Kyle Lowry's neighborhood. It's one of these houses right here. I think this is it right here. This is it. Yo, let's see if it's home. I gotta check out how these NBA guys keep their cars. Are they clean or are they dirty? Either way, we're gonna catch them right now. Come on. That's my dog. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? What you doing over here, dog?
All right, listen. I gotta show the viewers what Kyle Lowry's riding in, what K-Lo is dropping in right now. That's what I gotta do. That's what people want to see.
So you want to see my car?
Yeah, gotta see the
dirty, everything.
Hey,
I ain't get it washed in about
it's the
3
garage.
weeks.
This Ball's Garage, baby. This is how we do it.
But I just got done working out. I got a shower and can I shower? No. So can't have friends that live close, man.
That's right. The dog's gonna find you. Now let's see what's in your garage.
Okay. The Alpina. First thing I see is the kitted up on the bottom. The Beamer looking nice with the white on white. Come on now.
Kind of dirty right now, but
Why the Alpine?
Honestly, since my rookie year, I've had BMW 750s and all the stuff, and then You know, but when I got a chance to get a little bit more, money in my pocket.
That new contract.
New contract.
That new check.
The first one I got from, my youngin' days.
Right.
I said, look, I'm gonna upgrade myself.
Now you stepping up.
And I heard T.I. one day say, he said, everything in my garage, nothing less than 200. On the dash, so I had to step my game up.
Okay.
And I had to get somewhere 200 on the dash.
Right.
So
this is 200 on the dash.
It's not many people. I don't see many of these out here.
They looking at the emblem and they not really understanding. This isn't the 79,000.
It's about 140, 160 if you do everything the right way.
Let's pop the hood.
I don't even know what this thing look like under the hood sometimes, but I'm gonna do it because that's my dog. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
I'm gonna pop the hood because he's my dog. I got it. Okay. Most NBA players don't know how to do this stuff, so it might take a while. But me, I do this sometimes. Look how dirty that thing is. But look at that engine.
Alpina.
Custom. You got the custom, Alpina symbol right there. You got the Alpina engine, all that. They did everything very nice. This thing run like a real machine.
Now, most of these NBA players, they buy these cars. They don't know what's in the engine. They don't know what the components are. Let's see what Kyle knows about his car.
Where you put the oil.
You put the oil right here. You got to be. I know my car now.
Okay.
Some people don't.
Okay, that's good. Hey, check one. He got the first one up.
You got the windshield.
Where's the windshield wipe right there?
You know what I'm saying? Okay. But listen, the one thing about BMW, they do a good job of putting everything right where you can see it. They got let's say BMW caster. You got the windshield wipers.
Where's your battery?
My battery's over here, boss. My battery over here somewhere. You know what? Right? You see the little. See, listen, BMW do a good job. You see that? Right there, dog. You got the little plus right there.
Oh, you got the little thick. They tried to trick. They almost threw you one. They
tried
slid it in the back.
They tried to get the kid, but the kid, he know a little bit about his car, So, this my baby, and I've treated her well for the year.
All right, let's go ahead and close the hood up. Can we go to the shoes on the car first?
Well, you go to shoes on the car. Look at it.
Shoes on the car.
You got me embarrassed. Look how dirty my thing is. Look at this baby. But, at the end of the day, they come like this.
This is important because the same thing they rock with on their car need to be on their feet. Can we put the two together? Let's see.
When you going out, you stepping out, you already got the Alpina rocking. What shoes you rocking on the feet? What's the kicks? Kicks and whips.
I'm gonna do something special for y'all. Give me a minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. I'll be right back. All right. One of the perks of being an NBA and being an Adidas athlete that I am, these might be one of the best sneakers out right now. But I'm gonna show y'all. I don't show my stuff off.
Hey.
This is what we stepping out the whip with.
Hey.
We're gonna step out with those.
Okay.
Oh, that's it. That's
what you're gonna step out with.
Right.
That's what's going with the car.
Right.
Whatever car. This is one of the things you wish you still was playing. You get these perks.
What? Oh, my bad. Hey, listen. Music is very important. Whether they're going to practice, coming from the gym, going to pick up their kids from school, what's going on in the tunes? What's coming out the radio?
What are we listening to? Let's show me what your top 3 jams are, if not the number 1 jam.
I gotta go with my man. This, you know what I'm saying? I'm a young guy, so Drake, my man. Raptors, Toronto. Show some love to Toronto.
Shout out to Drake.
We always gotta show love to Drake. You know what I'm saying? Then you got. So there you have it, man. Those are my beats, man.
The beats.
That's what I'm rocking.
Lil you always bring it.
Lil Hov, Lil Drake, Lil Meek, Puffer and everything, Lil Ye, everybody. You know what I'm saying? I like good music.
I see. Okay. Girls in magazines is cool, but this is the thing. NBA players, we have our fantasies. We have the people that we kind of dream about, that we're saying to ourselves, man, if I had the opportunity, this person here would be in the seat next to me. We got to see who's riding beside these players, or who would they choose if they had the choice. Balls Garage, we're going to bring that to you as to what these players are actually thinking about. What celebrity be riding with them? Who's riding with you?
Right now, we got to get into this last segment. It's all about, you got this hot whip, right?
Yep.
And we got to know, if you had your choice of who's riding with you, who's riding in the front seat, the back seat with you, and then who's getting left out on the side. So I got 3 people for you.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one, you don't have to answer till you get all 3.
Okay.
First one is Beyonce. The second one is Sierra. And the third one is Nicki Minaj. So who's riding in the front seat, who's riding in the back with you, and then who you just sort of waving to?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like Nicki gonna ride in front with me because she a rider. She gonna ride with me, and but in the back seat gonna be my boss.
Boss is in the back?
Boss, Queen B. Yeah, Queen B in the back. She the boss. She tell me what to do. And
got the ride or die up front.
And I'm like, ride or die.
Got the boss in the back.
And I love Sierra to death, but you know, Russell Wilson got her.
Baller's Garage!
Seeing the whip. I let y'all listen to music. I showed y'all the Yeezys. Laurent, you my man, but you gotta get the hell on, dog. You know, listen. Hey, you know, it's a gated community. I don't know how they let you in the first place. Y'all be easy.
This next cat we're gonna go to is my man Marcus Banks. He's all about the flash. Marcus Banks comes out, he's looking all clean and classy, but I gotta catch him and see what his grunge state looks like. Can I catch him off guard? So Dog Pound, I need to know what you got on Marcus Banks. Where's he at? Where's he located?
Okay, Mr. Banks, because he's all flashy and everything, he tried to be all elusive, but Mr. Banks, you can bank on this. The Dog Pound's got you.
Come on, we gonna fire this up like hotcakes.
We are on the prowl. It's about to go down, ladies and gentlemen. I got another one on deck. Marcus Banks, Boston Celtics. Man, he living in a construction zone. These houses not even developed yet. Bro, what's going on? I'm at 2262, and all I see out here is a bunch of crows and construction. There's pipes, there's dirt.
Dirt? What?
Dirt.
He said, no, it's 42. 4232.
42?
Where in the world did you get that address from?
That's the address you... Oh, okay. You know what? I'm on it.
Even a dog senses is messed up sometimes.
Turn right on South Tioga Way, then turn right.
I smell garage. You smell that? You smell that?
Turn right on Yoni Court, then turn right.
Hello, delivery for Marcus Banks. This is UPS with a package. Ready. Here we go again. This is Marcus Banks' house. Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors. You know what time it is. 30 million. Let's go. It's JYD.
Oh my God.
Hello, how you doing?
Good.
Good, good. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Is Mr. Banks at home?
Marcos. Who is it? I don't know. You.
What's going on?
When you come out of your house with a white robe, looking like Liberace, you got a last name Banks, you better have something in the garage that got to do with some money.
Come on, man. What's going on, dog? Good, man.
Wait a minute. What's all this, man? What's up with the camera and stuff?
Man, don't mind them. They're just the people at home.
What can I help you with? What can I help y'all with, man?
Come
What's
on,
up?
man. I got this. Check out the whips.
You putting me on the spot right now. What I'm supposed to do right now?
Doesn't matter. I just got to see what's
All right, well, look, man. Let me see what I can do. I think my son got
Well, that was Marcus Banks and Junkyard Dog. We're going to be joined by Taylor Woods and Digit Murphy here. There's breaking news in the PHF and PWHPA here. Hopefully, you like that exclusive Kyle Lowry. I'm going to give you a scoreboard update before we're joined by Digit and Taylor with worldwide breaking news in the world of professional hockey. So, as you know, the NHL held their draft last night, and today was round 2 to 7. I'll get you the Maple Leafs picks right now. And the Maple Leafs, first round, they selected 28th overall. They got Easton Cowan, right winger. And then Hudson Malaniski, he's a center. And Noah Chadwick in the 6th round, he's a defenseman there. Also, it looks like William Nylander wants more than what the Maple Leafs want to offer. Maple Leafs wanted about 7.8. He wants at least a $9 million deal, so he could be in play as Saturday free agent frenzy comes about. The Maple Leafs also signed David Kampf yesterday. Now, some trades today. Lightning ship Corey Perry's rights to the Blackhawks for a 7th rounder. Oilers send Yamamoto and Kozlin to the Red Wings for future considerations. Penguins, Panthers, Bruins among teams interested in Noah Hamilton. David Poile makes final moves as Predators GM. Quinn from the Buffalo Sabres suffers an Achilles tendon injury. So that's bad news for the Buffalo Sabres. Islanders trade Josh Bailey to the Blackhawks for future considerations as well. So Radek Bonk's son was drafted as well. Stars Nil wins GM of the Year award there. And the Mighty Ducks have unveiled a new 30th anniversary jersey. All right. In NBA news, Harden exercises a $35.6 million option to facilitate a trade with the 76ers. Kings extend Barnes to on a 3-year, $54 million contract. Knicks Hart exercise a $12.9 million option for 23-24. Kyrie to meet with Suns with free agency starts. Beal enters 30s with Suns ready to chase his ring. Clarkson exercising a $14 million player option to stay with the Jazz. Graham pleads guilty to TWI charge. Clippers won't guarantee Gordon's deal, making him a free agent. So, and the NBA has a new CBA, and it goes into effect on Saturday. Bulls agreed to a 3-year, $60 million deal with Vucevic as well. Now in Major League Baseball, top of the ninth, the Jays 2, San Fran 1 out. Bottom of the 7th, Brewers leading the Mets 3-2. Houston all over St. Louis 9-0. And the 5th, Phillies 3, Cubs 1. The Dodgers versus Rockies is delayed. Finals, Pirates 5, Padres 4. Detroit 8, Texas 5. In 10, it was Kansas City 4, Cleveland 3. Yankees all over the Oakland Athletics 10-4. Rays 6, Diamondbacks 1. White Sox outlast the Angels 9-7, as well as the Marlins shut out the Red Sox 2-0. Don't forget Canada Day Saturday night 7:30. TFC is at BMO Field taking on Real Salt Lake. Tomorrow, the start of CFL week number 4. Edmonton, Ottawa at 7:30, as well as Saturday 7 p.m. Winnipeg and Montreal. And on Monday at BMO Field, BC takes on the Argos. Now we are about to be joined by Taylor Woods, and we'll wait for Digit Murphy, but Taylor Woods is going to come on right now. Taylor, how you doing?
I'm shook. Oh
Shook.
wow.
All right. So we're going to. I think we'll repeat this a couple times because this is a big breaking news in the world of sports. Put it this way,
Yeah.
because it looks like, and I'm going to say this: if there's an I mentioned Digit as an icon, legend, and all that. Digit will join us very, very soon there. But you are going to be playing for Billie Jean King. So wait, Taylor, you're a professional hockey champion. All right, you are a champion, and I mentioned this. And today it's a bit a hard day. I'll get into it later, but you are a champion, the only champion in the city of Toronto for hockey since 1960 professional. Because Marlies, I told you, Marlies is AHL, a minor league team, professional hockey champion since 1967. All right. Also, a strong woman, strong man champion. But you are going to be working for Billie Jean King, an icon legend. Let the cat out of the bag. Go ahead. You'll spill it.
Yeah. The Billie Jean King Enterprises as well. I should know. That party with that signed a letter of intent with the PWHPA. It was announced tonight that they bought out the PHF.
Hold on. And you were in a town hall meeting. You were in a meeting with how many players were on that call?
Oh, I jumped in late. I got the town hall meeting from my agent, so thank God he pulled through. But I think there was at least 100.
All right, so look at your hat there. Wait, I'll zoom in there.
Yeah.
All right, your hat should be
Actually, I should also
PWHFA whatever. Oh, look, you see?
And this Thunder Hockey. If people know history, here's a little history lesson now. The CWHL, right?
Yes.
Thunder. So I won a championship with them, and then I think it was like a year later, they dissolved and won a championship with the PHF.
No, listen, Taylor, we mentioned you're a champion. You don't have to flaunt it, but look what I'm flaunting here. I don't know if you see that. Right, well, hold on. I'll make it easier. There. The Argonaut Championship ring.
Nice.
All right. I know I'm not a member of the Argonaut, but anybody wants to give me a ring, I'll wear a ring. And I proposed with this ring, and she said no. All right. So, I don't know here. All right. But look, I know you're a little bit shook. Like you said, shook is the best word. We've been talking about merging for what, 3-4 years.
This isn't a merger.
This is not a merger. No, I'm getting to that. Okay, we were talking about merging for 3-4 years. They are quite all these sources that I've been saying, like you just said, it's not a merger. Then if it's not a merger, what is it?
They're calling it a buyout, sort of the buyout that happened in that NHL. It's,
so PHF is done.
It's a purchase. Yeah.
So it's done. So wait a minute. This makes me even more. Okay. We have a hockey champion on staff here. You, right? Okay. Now listen to this. The last PHF hockey champion, the first and the last for Toronto hockey champion in PHF, Premier Hockey Federation history. Yep. How does that sound? Nobody said that before.
No one said that before. There's very, very few of us that have that title. So, no, I'm glad that the group that we had, even the core, we really wanted a title. So I'm glad that we got it when we did because, of course, now there's no other opportunities too.
All right. So PHF is out. It's in. It's whatever. So what do you know here? Are there more teams? I know it's just in the early stages.
Yeah.
Because Toronto, I don't know if you should be called the Toronto Six or the Toronto Harveys, right? There's Toronto Sonnets, Toronto Harveys.
Sonnets.
What's your name here? Is Toronto have a team? Wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna call this out, right? Whoever is, Digit's coming in right now. All right, Digit, another icon legend and all that. But I'm gonna say this: Do you even have a contract for this PHF, PWHPA, PCC, WTTC, BBB, whatever? Do you have it?
No, not yet. Not yet.
All right. Do you want to say a former? First of all, I'm going to say this. All right. And Taylor, I want you to back me up if you want to. Now, there's no merger, there's no whatever, it's bought out or whatever. But if this new organization wants a commissioner, Billie Jean King is an icon of legend. So Billie Jean, I know you watch the president of the provinces of Canada, and the mayor-elect of North America. I know you watch everybody. Here is the new commissioner of whatever league you're going to call it, the PHF, PWAPA, blah, 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 blah. All right? Here is the new commissioner. Do you agree, Taylor?
Oh, right here, Digit Murphy?
Yes.
Definitely.
What do you mean? What do you think? What do you think? You think it's me?
No, well, you could be like the presidents of provinces of the...
No. I'd rather be the president of Harvey's. But anyways, I digress. Harvey started it, whatever. Now, Digit, I know you're tight. This came out of left field, really left field. What do you hear about this non-merger, purchase, whatever you want to call it?
I'm hearing mostly what you guys are hearing. I think it's a great day for women's hockey in general. I don't know all the details yet. Wait,
hold on. Taylor knows all the details. She was on a call, so give her all the details.
Well, first, I do feel sorry for the players. You know what? Like, I just remember 2019 CWHL sitting in that meeting and having the same thing. It just sort of just feels just experience-wise, but of course, this is the one purpose of growing women's hockey, growing a league, growing product, and this is the visible way, and you just got to trust the process. I
just want to weigh in here. I think both leagues for the last however many years have been at odds, and I measure success on a couple of things. Sustainability as the business model, but also how many opportunities are created, not just for players, for females in sports, owners, coaches, GMs. So to me, the jury is still out if you measure success like that, and that's how I measure it. Can we sustain, and do we have women's opportunities created? Now, what I'm hearing is, and Taylor, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is there are only 6 teams, okay? Right. I'm hearing there are 6 teams. So you had 7, so right off the bat, now you got 6. That to me is not creating opportunities, but we'll see if you just do it measured by that. The second thing is that as 7 teams times 20 players, that's 140 players that you have in the PHF. Now you're going to add those 140 to all the PWHPA players. So now you're going to reduce the number of opportunities for all the players. So, I get what Taylor, what you're saying is you have to, trust the process. And I agree with you. But if that's what they think has to happen, they, meaning the powers that be, and to me, want to make sure BJK, shout out to her. She is a woman. She did put the deal together. But how does this sustain, and how do we continue to create opportunities for women? Those are my 2 big points. And the jury's still out on that.
All right, so hold on. I'm going to go to Taylor here. Digit brought up some good points here. So 6 teams. Do you know which 6 teams they are already? Does Toronto have a team?
I'm assuming so. Like the PWHPA model had a Toronto team. They had sort of a Minnesota. They conducive to 4, but Minnesota-based team. If they were going to expand, they were going to expand into Calgary, but I don't think that's now. If they kept it with the the PHF players and hubs, my guess they would be cutting Connecticut, but that's just based out of the weeds. Boston, obviously, they're a hot market. Minnesota, there's players there, so they're going to keep Minnesota. So that's 4. However, they sort of want to spread it out from there. There's 2 other teams, so we'll see how it goes.
I would say, if I had to guess, and I'm not really sure, I'm not privy to all the information, I would say, I agree with Taylor, Toronto, Minnesota, Montreal, Boston. I think for whatever reason, Chicago. I don't know. I think Kemba Coin, Chicago. There's something there, and yeah, I don't know where the other one would be.
You think New York?
I think you're right, Taylor. I'm not sure about Connecticut.
All right, so and look, I say this with all sincerity. The original 6 of the NHL, if you look at it, Toronto, Montreal, Detroit, okay, Boston, Chicago, and the Rangers. So you said Toronto, most likely Boston, Montreal. So those are already 3 of the 6 that was in NHL.
Yeah, but you got to have Minnesota in women's hockey because
Okay, so you got
it's
Minnesota.
the biggest state.
Okay,
So I think
if you put Minnesota, Chicago, you already have 5.
But you also have to look at the rinks, and I think it really, if you're going to embrace that NHL model, it probably is going to have something to do with the owners that are very into women's hockey. I don't know. You might see a team in Florida. You might see a team in Carolina. You don't know. You don't know.
What about Arizona? Didn't you win the championship in Arizona? Never mind. All right.
No,
Arizona
but I'm
needs a
saying,
team.
like, you don't know that they're going to play in these rinks. There could be a whole different model where they're going to play in the NHL rinks. So, I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Did you hear? But you didn't hear it before, so I'm going to do it again because you kind of like this stuff. Taylor Woods is the only and last professional hockey winning team in Toronto since 1967. The first Toronto and the last because it's PHF is no more.
You're right. You're right.
I'm never wrong. All right.
You're the president of the provinces of Canada.
All right. So Digit, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, I'm going to get to you, Taylor. You know where I'm going. All right, Digit. You've been world-renowned in hockey. Did everything in hockey. Okay, and since I'm sort of your agent, right? Do you need a job in the new league, whatever they're going to call it? Because I'm telling you, Billie Jean King. You could call me right now. This lady should be the commissioner of whatever.
No. Look, I'm a free agent, and I'm open to any way that I can help create opportunities for women, including going back to coach. Woo!
Oh, there you heard
it.
There you heard. Can I be the assistant coach? I'm like Justin Levine, who's like the water boy. All right. So, Taylor, I'm going to go to you here. So you're a free agent too, also.
No, the last 3 months, man, have been just changing. So now it's still a free agent, still gonna be a free agent for a long time, it seems like. But yeah, no, just trying to get the hearsay on the league. Okay, what's going on? What's with the process? What does my training look like? Where's the on ice gonna be? And then what do I need to do to prove my worth still? I think even just last season, especially in the playoffs, people know I'm a competitor. But yeah, just going through, I know there's a draft process supposedly for new players coming in. I don't want to see it because you want the best talent there. But hearing that some of the PWHPA players will have bids over some all-star PHF players, I think it should be all put in a pool. Obviously, national players do have some talent in there, but there's definitely some studs coming from the PHF and also coming from university. So you got to throw them in the same pool. And yeah, sort of just figuring out when tryouts are going to be and then things like that logistically wise for players. So it changes my mentality coming forward because obviously as a player, this is a big year to sort of say this is the stance. You can do things off the ice, prove the worth on the ice, and prove the competitiveness coming in to showcase that talent. So I'm excited to have a little bit more of an off season because I could sort of just get a little more of my skill, get more grit, and really hone in on that. As well as now I have a chance to make a little bit more of a presence off the ice, and even just a couple of businesses that I'm getting involved in. So very, very fortunate about that.
All right, hold on. We'll talk about the businesses, but I got to ask you this. Digit, I'll go to you because you're the money person, All right, you're the money person. Right? Has there been any talk of the money here? Is it one centralized thing, or is this going to be one person makes 60,000, one person makes 120,000, one person makes 40,000? Is there going to be a centralized 100,000 for everybody, and that's it?
If I had to guess, I would say, because I don't. This is totally a guess. What I'm hearing is it's going to be more of a centralized league instead of an ownership model. I think in a capitalistic economy, not sure that's going to work. I think every league that's been centralized has not been great. But hey, if this one guy or whoever this ownership group has deep pockets, good for them as long as women are getting opportunities. But I personally like ownership model because then it gets more competitive and it won't be like you just said, $100,000 for everyone. I call that, more of a bureaucratic, model. It's more of a government model. It's more everyone gets the same model, and then that's that. To me, I think for a sports entertainment product in a capitalistic economy, I think it's better to not be like that. I do not like the IIHF model, is what I call it, which is, it's all about the Olympics and it's all about Olympians. I think that's part of the story, but I think in order to evolve as a true sports entertainment product, you have to take it from the IHF Olympic model and elevate it to a model where you can create markets in the fan base. You're not just dependent upon the NHL if this is what is happening. I like you growing the fans organically. I like a long game. I like markets that embrace women's sports. I mean, who would have known that, Seattle would embrace hockey? I like models that do market research that says, hey, a team should be in Colorado, a team should be in Atlanta, whatever it is. Go to places where they embrace the concept. So, we'll see, but I think it's a good start because I think having the Olympians, unfortunately, Taylor, this is just the world we live in, that's going to bring more money in and hopefully more opportunity moving forward. And it might be that Taylor has been a pioneer, just like I was as a coach and as a player at Cornell. And then now she can grow. If it doesn't work out for you or some of the other PHF players, now you can grow into other leadership, like maybe you're a strength coach or maybe you're a coach. So as long as opportunities are created for women, I think it's the right thing.
All right. Before I go back to Taylor, Digit, I'm going to ask you a question. From everything you hear about this new league and everything, what do you like and what would you advise them? Don't do this.
I would say don't go backwards. Don't go to a model that doesn't create competition. Do not try to boil the ocean in the first year. Don't try to be all things to all people. Stick to a strategic plan, have a plan, work the plan. Don't keep changing. I think the worst thing you can do in a startup or, in something new is to keep changing. Stick to it, go for it. And do value the players, do value women, do look at this whole league concept as through a women's lens. I think the mistake we make with women's sports is trying to just be men's sports. And I think that there's a real big opportunity. There's a blue ocean out there to look at women's sports through a female gender lens.
So you saw
that. Can you even say female and male anymore? I don't even know.
No, just they're a professional athlete. That's it. But as you saw, Taylor, I got a question from your good friend and Digit's great friend,
the Greek,
the Billy the Greek, and say, Taylor, don't worry. If your hockey career doesn't take off, learn tennis. All right?
No, Billy pickleball.
Huh?
Pickleball.
No, tennis. Billie Jean King, the queen of tennis. And the Greek could teach you how to serve and all that. So he said to serve him some sandwiches and all that. That's him saying it. Do you want a rebuttal?
My second sport was always golf growing up, so I think I would just go to golf and just hit the links.
Crush it.
Well, they merged Live Group and PGA. Anyway, all right. So as a player, and I'm going to say as a champion player, how excited and what would you like to see? I asked the same question of Digit. what would you like to see different from the PHF or PWHPA?
Oh man, like again, it's all fresh. So it depends on like the type of like, are they going to go WNBA style, right? It's a little bit shorter, it's a little condensed, but they're playing like a full season, right? It's like games after games after games, so you have momentum, which is a different swing than what anyone else has played. Maybe if we played in minor hockey when you're playing on a Wednesday night and then a Sunday, but seeing a little bit more of a condensed, but more games in the schedule. We'll sort of see how the bodies hold up with that, because that is pretty demanding and something different that we're used to. But just actually having a season where it's like, hey, this is hockey season and we're just playing hockey. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, just even the competitiveness. I think the PHF plays different hockey, and CAA obviously plays different hockey, and the PWHPA is different as well. So of course, now you're going to have different players and coming in, so it's just going to be a sort of a new product and a new entertainment value. So for me, hopefully we sort of hit it on the mark and everything sort of sinks when we play, or when games start in later on this year, I guess, or next year.
So, Digit, maybe I should ask you this. The Isabel Cup, is it now going to be called anything else? Because it's Toronto, the last Isabel Cup champion.
Oh, I'm sure they will change the name, and they will, probably come up with their own. I don't know. They would, if they were, honestly, you guys, if they truly were about the game and actually honoring the PHF and all the work that they did, they would keep the name. I challenge them not to, because it fits into the whole narrative. It's Lord Stanley's daughter, and I think they'd be. I don't think they should change the name. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't think.
All right,
so. But that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I told you. So, speaking about the Isabel Cup, Taylor Woods, an Isabel Cup champion. Next week, I think you told me, or when do you have the Isabel Cup, and when are you going to bring it to North York, the president of the province of Canada?
Well,
I got to. First of all, is there like a top that I could drink some Molson's out of it or whatever? Come on.
Maybe some different things in there, but I get it on the 11th.
She likes red wine,
I get on the 11th to the 16th, and I actually am going home on the 16th to the 18th. It was sort of in course of me chaperoning the cup going to Manitoba, but I'm also participating in Sammy Joe Small's camp and being just like a guest appearance there. So I wasn't going to go home with it, so it was an opportunity to go home and also just be a part of another camp.
Hold on. So you're going to get this Isabel Cup from July 11th to July 18th. Digit, mark this down. Wherever Taylor would, I like rings, right? Look, Digit, see, I got the Argo ring. I tried to propose it with this. She said she didn't like this ring. Man, I can't believe this. Anyways, okay, July 11th to July 18th. Are you coming back here? What do you have planned? Do you have plans to do something with the Isabel Cup? And I'm going to ask Digit, if you won a trophy right now, today, if you won the cup today, what would you do?
Oh gosh.
Digit, I set you up. You bring it to the president of the provinces of Canada.
Oh, you want me to bring it up there?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm just telling you. Look at me. I'm in the freaking pool over here. You think
all day you're in the pool, man. You don't even have
Get
out of the pool.
Go out like Tom Brady and throw it across, to the boat.
Look.
You guys, I ran that little girls' clinic the last couple of days. We had a clinic down there. I probably would bring it to those little girls and have them take a picture with it. And Taylor knows that that's probably what I would do. It's all about the youth.
That is what you would do. But since I was going to talk about it at the end, but since you brought it up, that's Pay It Forward. How was it? We got, how many people did we get sponsoring it? Come on.
Well, I don't know how many you got, but the players at the event, we definitely had a great opportunity to promote it on your network, Joe. So I appreciate that. It was amazing. 30 kids. They could not get enough of it. All female coaches, volunteers, ages 9 to like 14. We had actually a player come from Maryland. It was quite a little clinic and really, really cool. Yesterday they did a little piece on us in the local news. It really is about growing leaders, heroes, and role models for the next generation. Taylor, you would have been pumped. There was just so many little kids, smiles on their faces, and all the way from like 9-year-olds to like the big ones that are 14, and all working together and working hard and every day. And they were like, oh, we're having so much fun. And it was this good female energy that I think a lot of these young girls are craving because they don't get coached, especially in our area, by all female staff. So it was amazing, and we got to do more.
All right, so we're gonna close it out here. First of all, thank you, ladies, for your time. But again, maybe Digit this time. Maybe you want to tell the earth-shattering breaking news in hockey, and I'm not saying women's hockey because it's hockey. She's a professional hockey player and a Toronto champion. I can't say anything. Austin Matthews won $16 million for what? You were crapping the bed in the playoffs. Ask Taylor. She was on here all the time analyzing how he can't score a goal in the playoffs. Mitch Marner wants whatever, 10. William Nylander, now, instead of taking 7, he wants 9.7. First of all, William Nylander, go get out of this city. Go do your hair. Give me somebody actually who could throw a check and not run away when you go in scrums. All right, that's it. But Digit, I digress. See, I gotta calm down.
The greatest news tonight is that women's hockey is progressing. We have the PWHPA and the PHF merging. We've been waiting for this. What's that?
Taylor told me they're not merging.
Oh, what are they doing?
It's a buyout. It's a buyout.
Okay, PWHPA is buying out the PHF. They will come together, hopefully, and it's a great day for women's hockey when you see one league working in unison to grow opportunities. So I am hopeful, as always, and stay tuned for more drama in women's hockey, because it will ultimately probably be dramatic because it's women's hockey.
All right, Taylor, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm still mind-blowing. I'm going to be mind-blowing for the next while. So just sort of, I guess, I'm just going to focus on myself and just sort of trek the way and do what I can, even just for female sports.
And by the way, Taylor, above it, there to the right, I know you're mind-blown because we announced it last week. The Digit Murphy Show is coming to the Fired Up Network. All right, tell Taylor and tell everybody watching and listening here, what is the Digit Murphy Show all about? And please do not have Austin Matthews on or whatever.
I'll make sure. No,
just tell them.
The Digit Murphy Show is all things women's sports, and we are going to be talking Well, I was going to say PHF, can't say that anymore. PWHPA. We are going to be talking women in business. We are going to be talking soccer. We will talk anything that has to do with women's sports and creating opportunities. Because as you know, Taylor, you played for me. I was the president of the organization, and it's all about women and all about opportunities. And that's what the show is all about. So you don't even know. It's going to be a crazy show. And crazy stuff can happen, and who knows? Maybe I'll bring out the Don Cherry ties, Joe. Maybe I'll really start to be the Don Cherry.
Hold on, your buddy, the Greek. You know what he's asking, Taylor? Do you know what the Greek is asking now? He wants digits. All right.
Yeah, they are.
Go ahead, Digit. Go ahead, Digit. Tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
At Digit Murphy everywhere. That's it, all day, all the time, at Digit Murphy, digitmurphy.com. And, it's an adventure. Taylor knows every day with Digit Murphy is an adventure.
All right.
That's what's fun about life.
Hold on, Digit, 1 second. Taylor, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you also.
I'm on Twitter at Tay_Storm or on Instagram at TWoodsTraining.
All right, Taylor Canadian, I'm going to say to you this first. Happy Canada Day on Saturday. You're going to close this out by singing Canadian National Anthem. Digit is going to close it out by singing the U.S. National Anthem in Russian. Go ahead.
Oh, can you see? How do you do?
That was good.
That was actually good, but better now, Taylor. Now the pressure's on you. Can you perform?
Oh, Canada.
That's it? Come on.
Because they changed. Okay, I don't want to butcher up the lyrics because they have changed up the lyrics like
They
twice
changed it?
over the last year and a bit.
What is it now?
It's
our home in native land.
Yeah.
And there's another part in the verse too.
No, it's not that anymore.
The people, I think, and not the sons.
Oh, I don't know. I thought I knew it. Are you telling me I don't know it anymore, Taylor?
By the way, who cleans your pool, man? Like that pool is spotless.
It's spotless. Yeah, I can't tell you who it is because it's a secret.
All right, so I just want to thank the ladies again. The PHF was bought out by the PWHPA owner Billie Jean King, formerly tennis great, and big things like you heard it here first, worldwide exclusive. It looks like 6 teams, but there's going to be more news. Taylor, maybe maybe tomorrow, maybe over the weekend, but this is great news for. We talk about Canada Day, for Independence Day, for North America. Anytime we push ladies where they're supposed to be, and maybe, just maybe, in Toronto, February All-Star game, we could see NHL and whatever they're going to call it, the ladies play on the same team. And by the way, Taylor, when you do play in that All-Star game, Austin Matthews in the corner rubbing. I'm wondering if William Nylander will be scared to even come near. He was whatever. All right. So and check out again, Digit, Play It Forward Sports, right?
That's it. Play It Forward Sport. We're gonna start doing some more things. We're gonna do field hockey and softball. Hopefully, foreshadow. It's all about opportunities, all sports, all the time, Joe.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're going to talk about curling. You want to talk about curling?
I'll talk about anything you want. I love talking.
All right, here. You hear what Taylor, she said you want to talk. She's going to talk about anything. So let everybody out of the bag. Have you signed your WWE deal?
I can't talk about that. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
You just told me you're going to talk about anything I want.
I can't. Not that.
God. All right.
All right, Joe. Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Digit.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great one.
Digit. That's the icon, the legend, Digit Murphy there. Thank you, Dig. And Taylor, again, happy Canada Day. And we'll have you on periodically throughout the off season. And hopefully they sign you to a contract at whatever league they're going to be calling it.
Yeah. More details to unfold. So just going to jump on the ride.
Yeah, jump on the ride, and hopefully you're there for whatever the cup, because you got to defend the cup. Defend the cup.
Yeah,
right?
you got to defend the cup.
And by the way, July 11th through 16th, we got to see you here. Marty Roberts wants to put in Kipling there, wants to jump in, take a picture with the Isabel Cup and all that. So you got to make it all the way back to Toronto. Nobody's going to go to Beamsville. What's in Beamsville, anyways? Four people there, or what?
There's more than 4 people. It's
all right, five. There's a baby just born every 2 minutes, so there you go. But thanks a lot again. Big breaking news there for ladies professional hockey. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Again, that's Taylor Woods and Digit Murphy with breaking news in women's hockey. The PHF has been brought out by the PWHPA. All right, that will conclude the flagship show of the Fired Up Network. It's been a very trying day for myself. Keep your family very close. If you have problems with your mother, father, son, daughter, uncle, aunt, grandmother, grandfather, they could be gone in a second. So just remember that. Mom, I love you. and hopefully you'll be home soon. You've been watching the Fired Up Network flagship show, Fired Up Live, and we are going to have a soccer show tomorrow, 12:15, with Giancarlo Lino, John Freeman Nelson, and the coach, Carmen Asacco. Again, stay tuned for more great programming on the Fired Up Network. And don't forget, we're on over 30 apps like Momito, like Flickhouse, like Viva Live TV, like Glory Star. Download that app and watch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV Sticks, also Android TV, Apple TV, Samsung TV Plus, as well as LG Smart TVs, Hisense, and Philips TV. Mom, I love you. You're watching the Fired Up Network. Stay tuned for more great programming.